Greetings, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. We are unboxing, setting up, tuning, flying, crashing, and upgrading the brand new NBD Hummingbird Race V2. Thank you very much, NBD, for sending this over. Very, very cool of you. Yeah, that's the plan for today. It's also a Q&A live stream, of course. And we are going to fly 6 batteries, so you might as well join me on that insane journey that is flying 6 a day. If you fly 6 batteries every single day, be they tiny whoop batteries or 3-inch or 5-inch or whatever, your piloting skills are going to explode. And yeah, that is like the right amount of batteries. That is the right amount of consistency, you know. As much consistency as you can get is the right amount of consistency. But yeah, man, that's the deal, my friends. So join me on that. Fly your 6 while I'm just talking. You don't have to look at my big silly face flapping all over the place. And yeah, you're going to love my nuts. In the chat, Bad was first, Alexander Lewis Hughes, Rays FPV, Chuck P. Schweizer, L. Capital C, Captain FPV, Rays, Troy Prelog, Frank Nicholas, Levster, Douglas 6, Rockcrawler, Everyday with Bruno, Weebleed FPVs in the house. We're also doing mailbag. You guys get to check my mailbag out in a little bit. Juicy FPV, Mario Beans, Brian Kirk, Denzel the Terrible, Notice, Andrew Taylor, Uriel, Kazuma, Alley Cat, Notice Everyday with Bruno. I think I got everybody. What's up, friends? Thanks for coming. This should be a good one. This is the previous generation of, well, okay. So now you know why I took the old NBD Race a week ago and put it into the bigger 65 Pro frame with the 1.4-inch props. This showed up, and I realized that it's the same motors. It's very, very similar. They're super similar. There are definitely some upgrades to the new one, but just didn't make any sense. There shouldn't be much, if any, of a flight performance difference between the V1 and the V2, and so it made no sense to have them set up exactly the same size propellers, same size frame, right? And so I moved the race spec over on this wild and wacky 1.4-inch prop adventure that I'm on to see if maybe this makes a better freestyle kind of setup because of the extra float from the bigger propellers. And the jury is still out. I'm still flying, testing, all that good stuff. But yeah, now you know why it was. I wouldn't have done. It's a weird thing to take like a hardcore race rig and put it into like a hardcore kind of freestyle setup. But I mean, is it like it's just a camera, AIO, and set of motors, right? Like, yeah, these motors are a little bit high KV and a little bit too powerful for these bigger props, but I just motor limited it down and away we go. So yeah, it's all good. If you want to talk to me in the chat, you got to type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up an orange. You can do that to each other. If you want to get like Notice's attention, the guy in the chat named Notice, if you type in your message like, yo, Notice, what's going on, dude? For him, it'll light up an orange. Unfortunately, you know, with a name like Notice, if you're typing into your chat message and you're like, hey, Ciotti, I just happened to notice that your hair is brown. Unfortunately, if you do that, for Notice, his name will light up an orange, and he'll get all excited, and he'll be like, oh, somebody's talking to me. And then he'll read it and go, it happened again. Ciotti mentioned it, and now everybody's doing it again. Don't you bully him. You keep it nice. No bullying. You understand? So yeah, type CiottiFPV if you want me to read your chat comment. Every Day with Bruno says, sometimes life is a pain. Sometimes life is pain. Indeed it is. Hopefully Ciotti will make it seem better. I hope so too, my friend. Denzel the Terrible says, nice pants. How do you know? How do you know what pants I have on? Notice says, who is the other pilot in the intro footage? That is I have sad news about that place, actually. They are having to close down. Something weird happened with like permits or some shit like that. And yeah, Stuart. It's Stuart. He's an RC drift car guy who also just happens to be into FPV. Super cool guy. Yeah, that place is I got to fly there 3 times, and that's it. It's gone forever. Really sad, man. I'm worried that the company Torque Motorsports, I mean, they're looking for another new location now, but oh my god, I can't imagine how much money they dumped into that spot there, and to have it taken away from them and have to move again has to really hurt financially. So hopefully they can survive, man. Oh boy, that sucks a big bag of dicks. The RC drift car guys all came together and had that mural painted and set the track up and polished the floor and all that good stuff. And that's all gone now too, which sucks. But yeah, so I have nowhere to chase RC drift car. Well, no, apparently a couple of the drivers have like little spots. So there are supposedly places to still do it around here, but no like big fancy spots like that. Which, you know, is what it is. But that sucks, dude. I hope I really, the thing I hope the most is that the company Torque Motorsports does not take so much of a hit that they have to just bail and just give up. That would really, really, really suck. Because they're a really cool company that has a super unique thing, right? A spot for with sim rigs where like car people can come and like what I consider like real proper car people can come and hang out and do things. And so yeah, that's super tough. Super shit. Went to a... Hold on. I can only show you a tiny little bit of this because I put music to it. But took Florence to her first concert on Friday. We went and saw Killswitch Engage. No, we didn't. We went and saw... for Christmas, I got her tickets to go see... Oh, wow, it's gone from my Instagram stories already. That's super annoying. Not KSC. Motorhead. No, that's not it. God damn it. Oh, boy. The memory is the first thing to go. What is the name of the band? As you can tell, I'm not necessarily a fan of them. They're all right though. They're a screamo band. What's the screamo band? Pierce the Veil. Thank you, Andrew Taylor. A band. I went and saw a band. A band. Bad also got it as well. Yeah, Pierce the Veil. They're all right. It was an interesting show. I haven't been to a metal show in a long time. Like, probably like my 20s. I went to Ozfest 3 times, I think. I've seen Coheed and Cambria a bunch. I've seen them, I think, either 3 or 4 times as well, and some other metal shows. Back then, even on the lawn, there were like no chairs. That just wasn't a thing. Like blankets, maybe, but no chairs. And pretty much everybody was standing up the entire time. Concerts now, the first thing that I noticed, so like we would get more and more insane throughout the end, and then like, you know, like the crowd's energy level would do this along with the music. Nowadays, just because I think people are, you know, with the internet and shit, people aren't used to standing up for that long, and just people don't have the energy that they used to. This time it was like this, and then it was like this, and it was very much like this. Like there were a good amount of people leaving before the last couple of songs. I was like, what the hell's going on here? It was a different, yeah, it's different. And like there were lots of people kind of just relaxing and sitting down. It was not like any metal show I've ever been to. And it has nothing to do with the band. It just has to do with, you know, in 20 years things have changed, right? We're all tethered to our cell phones. We're all sitting around all day. That was kind of interesting. But Little Boo had an amazing time, and that's all that matters. And Maggie ended up going as well, and then 2 of Florence's friend Cora, her moms went as well. So it was the 4 of us sitting behind the kids in the grass. And at one point, I just kind of looked around. I was like, "Oh, how did this happen? I'm a parent in the grass, sitting down at a metal concert." I was like, "Ah, shit." I mean, I stood up for a little bit, but like, I don't know, man. It was, there was a moment where I was like, I literally like looked around and I was like, because there were a couple other parents, you know, sitting down behind their kids, and I was like, oh, fuck. This is also the first concert I think I've ever been to that didn't reek of weed. I don't know if it's just because everybody's using vapes and dabs and shit now, but I did not smell weed. Well, I think I smelled weed once through the course of the show, but that was it, and that was different. Yeah, every single concert I ever remember going to, pretty much the entire time, just reeked of flower. But yeah, not anymore. I don't know. It could have been just like the I don't know. God only knows what that was. But it was that was fun. It was a good clean night out. Little Boo had a great time, and that's all that matters. And if you saw it, you saw it on my Instagram. I posted a couple cool little stories. If you missed it, it's gone forever. Lost to the ether. That's all. Hey, we're also doing mailbag. I got my my stuff in from. You know what? That is from Mighty Car Mods. Subscribe to them here on YouTube if you have any interest whatsoever in cars or just really good YouTube channels. They are like one of the OG YouTube channels that's just still killing it. Northeast Whoop Championship shirt. This is a CMYK FPV design I only recently realized, so that's super cool. These will most likely be, this and this will most likely be giveaways because I should have both of these colors. Alright, Zotac has a couple notes on here. Usually I just throw these right away. But there's a couple notes on there that I should probably read through. A bunch of stickers, which are going to go into the giveaways, as they typically do, unless there's... No, these are new stickers. I don't have this one, so this one's mine. I don't have this one either, Garbage Pail Kids. We Bleed Man. I don't have this one either, so I'm keeping this one. Sucks to be you guys, you ain't getting any of these, and an iGal 5 sticker. Look at that. These are all mine. Zotac did send a whole bunch of stick time koozies. It's all about stick time, it says. So these will absolutely be in a bunch of giveaways moving forward. And then loads and loads of other stickers. FPV. Oh, all of the stickers I just showed you are in here. And there's like 15 or 20 of them, which is amazing. So lots and lots of stickers for all the upcoming giveaways. Here's another new one with HD0 goggles on it. I'm going to keep one of those, and the rest go to you beautiful people. And then, yeah, that looks pretty good. Here's another one. Get in there. I can't pick it up. Can't you just... Northeast Whoop Championship. Struggle bus, all aboard. Alright, there we go. That's better. Cool, so re-up on giveaways, which is amazing. And then I actually bought a bunch of stuff, too. Mainly just stickers, man. I'm closing myself in over here. I got quite the mess that has formed behind me, and I'm closing myself in, man. If I close myself in with work, then in order to get out of here, I have to get through some of this stuff. I have to get through some of this work. That's how it works. You just gotta box yourself in, and then you have no choice but to work your way out. Weird way to live, but hey, man, whatever works. Whatever works. I did a little bit more 3D printing the other night. I had to fire it up for something, and I'd let a bunch of files kind of pile up. And so I worked my way through them. That was fun. I hadn't fired that thing up in a minute. The nozzle got clogged again. I think it's because the bed was dirty and then it wasn't adhering to the bed and then it on the nozzle. And so I learned a better method of cleaning the nozzle, which was cool. That's about all I have to say about that. Weebleed sells 0802 bells, and they're the lightweight bells. They're the EX bells. So if you need 0702 or 0802 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, Jesus, replacement motor bells, Weebleed's got them, and they've got lots of them. So get yourself some. Don't let them get stuck with 11 billion of these bells. So yeah, 802, and they also have 702 1.5 millimeter motor shaft bells. Get you some, friends. You can convert Happy Model motors over. If you have a Happy Model 0702 motor with a 1 millimeter bell, you can just drop the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft bell right onto it. If you have any Newbie Drone 802, you can, I don't know why I'm putting this away, you can drop this lighter weight 1.5 millimeter motor shaft EX bell onto it. And yeah, these EXs should not be any less durable. The areas that these EX bells are lighter weight are not areas that these things fail. So you should be able to go to these bells without any decrease in durability. If anything, you're going to get an increase in durability from the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, right? Basically, with Tiny Whoop motors, the 1.5 mil motor shaft is what breaks every single time. It either slips or bends. And so, yeah, these will be amazing. These would be an amazing upgrade for you. I got a RunCam Nano 7, yo. Let's take a quick look at it, and I'll just hold it up next to the FXT camera that we kind of think that this is. But I don't think that it is, because FXT is not the same company as RunCam. So I don't think this is the exact same thing as the Mobula7 2024 camera. But let's take a real quick look. I think this is it, right? Nope. Where's the... Must be in here. All right, hold on. Yep, here it is. All right, so this is the Mobula7 2024 with the FXT camera. So first and foremost, the RunCam Nano 7, that's what it is, right? Yeah, the RunCam Nano 7 has the holes in the corner. So this is now one more camera that we can use with the old school Mobula6 upside down ball sack canopy. All right, that's the most exciting thing about this camera. You're gonna have to modify the front of the camera to clear the big lens, but that's easy to do. So yeah, no, it's totally different. The chip layout is completely different on the back. Arr. Yarr! Yeah, the chip layout is totally different. So absolutely not the same camera as the FXT. Here's one quick thing I will say. They have not silk screened the which pads are which on this. So I'm going to say it right now so that it's so that it exists forever. On the RunCam Nano 7, you'll probably be able to see this in product images, but the voltage red wire is all the way on the outside. The middle is ground. The third wire in is video, and then there's actually a hole. There's another pad that's not being used. So there's a fourth pad on this thing. Maybe camera control or something like that, or it could be like another ground. But yeah, it's only using the outer three pads on the back here. And it's red, black, yellow, then blank. So there we go. We will put this into one of those mounts and we'll put it on something at some point. Not today, but we'll get there. I'm excited to see how this compares to the FXT. Well, we'll do that on the stream where we do the third 1.4-inch prop build. Maybe tomorrow night, maybe Whoop Wednesday. But yeah, you'll get to see what a RunCam Nano 7 looks like within a few days, if not tomorrow. Hopefully that's fair. Even if it isn't fair, what are you going to do about it? That's a weird place to take that. Right. So, set of... Now that I found the set of these that I knew that I had floating around, of course, the other set now shows up. All I had to do was buy this set, and then the very next day I found this set that I couldn't find for days. So one of these is probably going to end up in a giveaway, to be honest with you. This is a set of Happy Model 0702 32,500 kV motors with 1.5mm motor shafts. These are going to be used on this build with, well, eventually these are going to be used on this build. Right now, this build with the 1.4-inch props has direct soldered 40,000 kV 0702s with, I swapped the bells to the individual bells you can get on Weebleed with 1.5mm motor shafts. And the props that we're going to run on this setup are in this bag here. But at some point, I'm going to take the other Mobula7 2024, which is on motor plugs, and I'm going to set that up with these motors, because these 40,000 kV motors are going to be too high of a kV. But these are direct soldered. And so this is kind of just going to be a temporary build. Or maybe not. I mean, I'm not going to leave that, because those motors are too high of a kV. So maybe I should just pull this back apart and I hate to do that because this is flying great, but I might do that. I might do that instead, is pull this Mobula7 2024 apart that's not direct soldered. This is one of the motor plug versions. And yeah, this is more likely going to be the home for this kind of setup. I kind of think that makes more sense. The reason why this build is taken apart right now, though, is that when I bell swapped it over and then I put the only 1.2-inch propellers on here that have 1.5mm motor shafts, which are the old school Gemfan 1210s, I realized that I didn't love how it performed with these props. These props are just kind of getting old. And so it's just been sitting here all pulled apart, which is kind of insane because it's a perfectly good Mobula6 2024. But I feel like I should maybe put that back together in a regular frame and just leave it on those 1210 props. I don't fly this other... Look, if the whole... Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing I'm realizing. Is that these Meteor 65 Pro frames require you to run an AIO that's slimmed down in between the grommets. And there aren't many of those AIOs. And so I pretty quickly realized that I had 3 of these frames. I realized that I could kind of do every single build option that's possible. One with the Betaflight slimmed down all-in-one AIO with the VTX on board, one with the newbie drone, and then one with Happy Model. And I can have 111. But now that I kind of dig the way that this flies so much, I'm not really sure where I was going with that. But I think that I think that putting that all the way together just to take it apart or have to desolder the motors or something like that seems kind of insane. I think it would make more sense to put that back together and just wait for another set of 1.2 inch props with a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. That makes sense? Hopefully that makes sense. While I'm doing this, I could also switch the FXT camera out if I wanted. But I think this is the only build I have with the FXT camera, so I won't do that. I'll leave that, and then I'll put the RunCam Nano 7 into something else, and we'll see how it looks. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do there. I think that's the smartest thing to do there. So we're going to compare the race to a couple other rigs here today. Oh boy, I'm glad that I looked at the charger. I thought it was charging, but it was not. We're going to compare the Race V2 to the Hummingbird V4, non-race. We also may as well compare it to the Betaflight race build. And Happy Model doesn't really have a direct sort of competitor. I mean, the Mobula7 2024, of course, it's great, but we've flown it a ton. We know that it's good. We know what it is. So I don't think we really need to compare it to that per se. Just because we've flown that thing enough, it's sort of a known quantity. And so yeah, we'll fly like one battery on the Hummingbird V4, one battery on the Betaflight Air 65 race, and that'll give a cool little sort of comparison point. Sound fair? It better. I got all distracted. End of mailbag is a bunch of propellers, a whole bunch of propellers. Some 1.6, some 1.4s, some 1.2s. Here's a 1.4, 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 40, what are you? 40 millimeter is 1.6 inch, right? Some gem fans and some 1.2s. Here we go. I ran out of this specific color. This is just an HQ 1.2 by 0.9. This is my favorite of the 1.2 inch tri-blades at the moment, and I just ran out of this specific color. So nothing super interesting there. Here's where things get fun. Oh, I only had one set of these Gemfan 35S 1.4 inch props, so I snagged a couple of them as well. These are currently my favorite of the 1.4 inch propellers. These are Gemfan 35 millimeter S-2 props, and these are great on these on these 1.4 inch builds that I've been doing lately. These are the propellers that perform the best. The other prop option, the other really good prop option that I was playing around with on Wednesday's live stream are these brand new HQs. They are 1.4 by 1.1 by 3. And I got a bunch because, and what's really exciting is HQ is making these drilled, well, molded 1.5 inch motor shaft. And so we can build a really durable 65 millimeter motor to motor 1.5 inch prop rig with these guys. So I got a set in gray and 2 sets in red. I also got a couple extra sets of the 1 millimeter motor shaft 1.4s, just basically like kind of for testing. Like, since they make the 1.5 millimeter version of this prop, I will always run that version of it, But for testing stuff head to head, it's really nice to have a couple more sets of these 1mm motor shaft versions. So that's super cool. And then this isn't super new, but I didn't have any of these. HQ has a 40mm, 1.6 inch, 1 inch of pitch tri-blade that is 1.5mm motor shaft. They have the same prop in 1mm motor shaft. So I have a set of each of those. And then weren't there two? I left them over there on the table. I think there's some prototype props. I know that there's some prototype props over here that I can't show you, but there's 2 bags of these, which say LP. They say LP on them. I think that means low pitch, is my guess. But I gotta actually send Zotek a message. Oh no, okay, yeah, it is low pitch. These are the 1.2 by 0.9s. He must have run out of the bags or something. All right, so these are not prototype or anything wacky like that. Yeah, 1.2 by 0.9. Okay, so that's fine. These go with this. But yeah, there are some prototypes in here. Are they stamped what they are, I wonder? Let's see. Ooh, they are. Cool. So I'll let you know what I think. No, I won't. I mean, I can say like, oh, they're my favorite new prop. I can't wait for them to come out, but I can't tell you much more about them. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. I love propellers. They're cheap. They make a massive difference in the way that these things fly. And yeah, that's exciting. It's exciting to be able to do something cheap and easy that changes the way a thing performs. You know what I'm saying? Usually, to change the way a thing performs, you got to spend a bunch of money and like dig deep and take it all apart and do all kinds of wacky shit. Where's the bag for the rest of these propellers? That's weird. So yeah, on a future live stream, we're gonna play around with these 1.4 inch tri-blades a little bit more. But for right now, I'm just gonna put them away. But I'm excited about this, man. If we can have a 1.4 inch biblade or even tri-blade, whatever, freestyle build with 1.5mm motor shafts using mainly like off the shelf stuff. That's pretty cool. That's pretty rad. I think the easiest version of that build, I think one of the things that's going to be important on these is to keep the weight down. Like the whole point of doing this is to really maximize the float that we've got, that we're getting here. And if, you know, when you go up to the Meteor 65 Pro frame, you gain a little bit of weight in both the frame and the slightly bigger propellers. It's not bad, but it's there. And so if we did that on like a normal build, 17 grams becomes 18 or 18 becomes 19, and that's a bit much. Luckily, the Meteor 65 Pro frame being smaller in here, the only AIOs that you're going to be able to run on this frame are the lighter weight AIOs. So that's kind of cool. It'll force the weight to stay down on these builds. But I think that's a good thing. I think that's really, like I said, an important part of these builds is keeping the weight absolutely as low as possible. But, you know, I mean, you could absolutely argue that the bigger propellers are actually going to give you a little bit more efficiency if, like, runtime is a concern. Yeah, it's a bit of a dance. You know, when you gain weight, that hurts efficiency. When you go to bigger propellers, that helps efficiency. Problem being that usually the amount of weight gain needed to go up to the higher propeller on a tiny whoop is going to offset the extra runtime. And like shower thoughts the other day, it's because of the guards. Like if you go from like a 5-inch build to a 6-inch build, yes, the arms get a little bit longer. You maybe have to run a slightly bigger motor, but usually you'll gain runtime on like a regular carbon fiber armed build. As they get bigger, you gain runtime. With a tiny whoop, because we've got because just the arm gets a little bit longer, right? On a tiny whoop, we've got all this. And so when you go bigger, it gets a lot heavier because you've got all that. It's not just, you don't just have to extend material that's right here. You have to extend all this material. And that will typically make it, all things, being equal, right? Same MAH battery, all that stuff. When you go bigger on a tiny whoop, sometimes you'll lose. More often than not, I think I can say, and it'll be fair, you'll lose runtime. The argument being that when you go to a bigger frame, you can put a bigger battery in it. But in this case, you cannot. This is the only option that we've got for 1.4-inch props, the Meteor 65 Pro frame. This is the only one. And this frame is set up for a 300 mAh battery. Yeah, technically you could run the jousting Weebleed batteries in here, but this now becomes a hardcore long-range rig, not a freestyle rig. And what this frame does really well is freestyle, in my opinion, right? You can't really crash with a battery like that. It's going to hit the battery on the ground and then rip the battery lead off. So the challenge with the Meteor 65 Pro is runtime. You're putting a bigger, heavier frame, bigger, heavier, more draggy props. And if you run the same battery, that can potentially lose you runtime, even though the bigger props are more efficient. So yeah, on these 1.4-inch builds, you got to keep the weight down to maintain the good runtimes. But I've been pretty impressed. I'm really excited to do one of these builds with Happy Model motors. The two builds that I have right now, the Betaflight build, which is basically just an Air 65 dropped into a new frame with the bigger props. The runtime is not great on this. It gets just barely over 2 minutes. Amazingly, the Hummingbird V1 build that I've done gets like 2.5 to almost 3 minutes. I don't know how it does that. It makes more power, but the motors must be more powerful and more efficient. That's not totally unheard of. The Happy Model motors, though, they're like the runtime kings. So super excited to see what one of these builds will be like with the more efficient motors. So we'll see. I'm excited to get a couple of these builds done. My fear is that the Happy Model build is going to be heavier. It's going to be a little too heavy. These two are hilariously lightweight, and I think that's why they fly the way that they do. But there's only one way to find out. So subscribe to the channel to find out what we do with them in the next week or so. Because that's when it's all going to be going down. The next week or so. There are 2 bags of props that have just disappeared on me. And I'm pretty sure I didn't throw them away, but whatever. Look how satisfying that is. A bag of red and purple propellers. Ooh! And then these need to stay separate because reasons. All right, look at me. Mailbag done. I'm organized. Huge shout out to Zotek over at Weebleed for hooking a brother up, getting this stuff out to me quick, as always, with awesome pricing and all the things. Let me get caught up on chat a little bit here. Alley Cat says, "Hola, guacamole." Rio Lay says, "Are you going to try out the new Caddx Far sight and Gazer?" I don't even know what those are. Also, do you think Caddx has any chance against DJI O4? Absolutely not. They said they're making a Moonlight too. No. As always, DJI has way too much of a head start and way too much money. Budget, right? When, you know, the O4 system, both the Pro and the Lite, DJI probably spent, I wonder if they spent millions of dollars on the R&D. At the very least, they spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars R&Ding the O4 system inside of the Avata 2 and the for the Pro system and the Lite system inside of the Neo. And Caddx is just never going to be able to match that. Never. It's totally unrealistic. And so, yeah, it'll never be as good when you look at it as a whole. It will never be. Caddx will never be able to catch up with DJI. They will be a couple years behind, and it'll just not be as good. Even after a couple years of catching up, it still won't be as good. Because they haven't had the head start that DJI, right? DJI has been working on, I think it's called OcuSync. DJI has been working on an HD video transmission system for like 10 years now at this point. Way before old school DJI V1. Like, they've been working on this for a long time. Caddx was not, right? And so there's a huge gap in time that DJI had the head start. And then DJI as a company can afford to spend way more money and put way more resource into all of their stuff, especially when they're designing it for something that they can sell in Best Buy, right? They designed the O4 Pro and the O4 Lite for rigs that they can sell millions of, right? I don't know if they'll actually sell a million Avata 2s, but they'll sell a ton of Avata 2s, right? They'll make a ton of money back on that and the Neo. And so they can afford to go super hard on the camera and video and VTX systems on those rigs. And so, yeah, Caddx will never be able to really catch up. But I haven't even heard of the Far sight and the I'm gonna call it the Geezer from now on. What? Analog camera? What? What is this? Zoom? What? 1 to 8x zoom? What is this madness? Smart zoom? Oh, what in the hell? Zoom in fast with 8x magnification. So this is going to be a digital zoom because there's no way in hell that they've built an optical zoom into this tiny little camera here. And like digital zoom is relatively worthless because it's just cropping in, and so you can just do that in post. You would want to do that in post. To do like a digital zoom live, you're just throwing pixels away. And so like don't do that. Do that in post. So that's kind of gimmicky. A 1.2 inch sensor is pretty fucking big though. So that's really cool. It looks like it's 19 by 19. That's interesting. Big ass VTX. Weird. Weird. This strikes me as not an FPV product. Maybe we could use it and it'll be okay, but this whole zoom thing, that strikes me as more targeted towards like the photography drone world / like you know, attacking people world / industrial inspection / wildlife observation / search and rescue. But maybe zoomed all the way out, maybe this thing is really good. But yeah, there's no reason for us to use the zoom thing. Use flight control PWM to achieve zoom operation reset control. Huh. Very weird. Very weird, but I'm sure there's a reason for it. Wait, what? You guys got to pick. You guys got to pick. And you got to tell us, is it a 1/2 inch sensor or is it a 1.2 inch sensor? There's quite the fucking difference there. This is very different than 1.2 inch. Normally I would just say, oh, this is a typo, but it's a typo that's happened twice. They say 1/2 inch sensor twice here, but then the picture, I mean, in one of these positions they've transposed a slash instead of a dot. Let's look down here in these specs. Hold on. I have a feeling it's a 1/2 inch sensor, because a 1.2 inch sensor is fucking-gantic. So I really doubt that it's a 1.2 inch sensor. In 3 different locations, they're saying that it's a 1/2 inch sensor. 1, 2, and 3. But you never know. So that's interesting. That's the Caddx Far site. There's also the Caddx Geezer, which has a giant lens on it. Geezer color night obviously it's Gazer, but come on now. Night vision analog camera. Why do they keep calling these analog cameras? What is this about? Why are they calling them analog cameras? Oh god. What? Optical zoom? What? That's why it has a giant lens on it. Oh boy, I can't really recommend this either. An optical zoom is fragile. This is another, I think, not FPV thing. This is for certainly not freestyle FPV. If it actually has an optical zoom, if that's not an AI writing your copy mistake, yeah. Ooh. No. What is this? Is this a removable ND filter? Oh boy, wow, there are just, I have never seen this many typos. This is insane. I assume that D/N is not some acronym that I don't know of, because it would make an awful lot of sense for this to be ND, neutral density. Oh, nope. It's an acronym that I didn't know. Easily switch between day and night modes. This is day and night. That's quite confusing. Using a filter during the day for clear, true to color images. Remove it at night to maximize brightness and light intake. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so what this is an IR filter. This is super funny, actually, and not a bad idea at all. So during the daytime, when you don't want your image to be all pink and look ridiculous, you put this infrared filter on and it blocks out the infrared light. And you get a normal image. At nighttime, when it's going to go to like a black and white mode, you're going to take this infrared filter off, and that's going to let the infrared in, and then the infrared is light, and it can expose it a little bit extra light. This is actually a pretty cool idea. I'm surprised that nobody's done this before. Usually, on like pretty much every camera ever, they put the infrared filter on the image sensor itself or the back of the lens. But like almost no matter what, there is an infrared filter somewhere. It's usually internal. This is really slick that they're doing it external. Although when you lose this little filter, you're going to be pissed because during the day, everything's going to look pink. But yeah, this is a really neat idea. If it actually has... okay. So it is not an optical zoom. Magnification 3x, zoomed in by flight controller. The flight controller is separate from the body of the camera. And so there is absolutely not an optical zoom on this thing. I am having a really hard time right now with the amount of the nicest thing that I could say is wrong. The thing that drama obsessed people would want me to say is misleading information is in these is on this is Caddx's page. This is CaddxFPV.com. There's certainly a language barrier, but it's rough to have two product pages with a whole bunch of stuff that's absolutely wrong. And like, sorry, but this right here, this feels like some shit that's like, you know, oh my god, a 1.2 inch sensor, gotta buy it now. You know, this feels like, yeah, doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel good. There's, and like, I don't know, Caddx Walksnail has been kind of in the spotlight a little bit recently for some weird shit, mainly with Ian, Mads Tech, but I don't love this. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is super misleading. This little guy has a the geezer, it has a 1 1/8 inch sensor. So like, for example, right, this is the geezer that doesn't have that insane incorrect image that says 1.2 inch sensor. This is why I'm 99% sure that other the whatever the other one was we were just looking at does not have a 1.2 inch sensor, because like this is the normal size for sensors in those little cameras. It can't have a 1. Watch this. Here's the easy way of figuring it out. Caddx Far site. Where's the size of the body? Wasn't it in here somewhere? Didn't it say 19 millimeters by 19 millimeters? Where the hell is it? Here you go. So, 19 millimeters by 19 millimeters. That's the size of the case, right? So, like, the image sensor couldn't possibly be bigger than 19 millimeters. Busted, bro! Busted! If it was a 1.2 inch sensor, the body would need to be at least 30.5 millimeters by 30.5 millimeters. So, yeah. Definitely not a 1.2 inch sensor. I saw that. I got super... the excitement... in my brain, the excitement was here, and then the logic was here. And so the excitement was like, no logic, no logic. But then as I thought about it more and more, I'm like, how the hell? So there you go. That's what I think of Caddx's two new products. Caddx, fix your website, man. It looks like you're... you know, 1 or 2 errors is one thing, but the number of errors that we're seeing and the errors, if you were going to make errors that would accidentally sell a bunch more product, those would be the places that I would make the errors. Look at the size of this sensor. It's a huge sensor. Oh, sorry, we missed the dot and the slash. It's a simple mistake. Nobody likes digital zoom. Oh, we accidentally called it an optical zoom. Oh, that's a lot less of a simple mistake. That is absolutely not an optical. You know, see what I'm saying though? That feels a little weird. Feels a little weird, bro. Bad says, have you seen Bardwell's Hummingbird V4 review? He had an interview with Newbie Drone owner about some choices. Oh, that's cool. I did not watch it. I will now, though, for sure. I wondered why that review was so late. Hummingbird V4 came out a long time ago. He was probably setting up that interview. He's also been super, super, super busy. I'm going to watch that tonight. Very cool. Everyday with Bruno says, why would an old FR Sky keep losing, then regaining telemetry? Because that's just what they did, man. It's an old Tiny Hawk Freestyle 2 D8 using a Boxer 4-in-1. Yeah, that's just what FR Sky used to do, man. They're basically, from what I remember, we're going way back. From what I remember, so like the telemetry is the receiver talking back, right? And the receiver is tiny. And so it can't have a very strong whatever the chip is on it that transmitter. And so the telemetry coming back is just weak, and so you'll get that telemetry lost quite a bit. Yeah, that's old school FR Sky stuff. There's probably a way to get around it. I don't remember though. It's been so many years. Andrew Tiller says kill switch would be fun. They would, right? Uriel says, I want a pogo again, bashing people. Don't do it. Yeah, you can do it. Do whatever you want. Brent Anderson says, there isn't a universally recognized symbol specifically for answer. However, depending on the context, you might use a check mark. Also, magnifying glass with check mark ideas. What is that in reference to? What were we talking about? A symbol for answer. What the hell were we talking about? Oh my god, my brain is just useless. Brian Kirk says, I got both V4 and V3.1 in Meteor 65 Pro frames, worth spending $150 on the SP V2. SP? SP. What the hell is SP? SPV2. I don't know what SPV2 is. I'm going to take a swing, and I think maybe you're talking about the Hummingbird Race V2. You have the Hummingbird V4, and you have the Race 3.1. Probably not. I mean, we'll see. I haven't even... I took it out of the box to take the pictures, but that's it. From what I understand, the main improvements here are the VTX and hopefully the image quality. Hopefully the image quality on this will be on par with the Hummingbird V4. And so for you who already has the Hummingbird V4, this is going to be a little bit lighter, right? The direct soldered motors rather than motor plugs. That's probably about it. Yeah, that's probably about it. So you've already got the Hummingbird V4. I would just stick with that, unless you want that little bit of weight savings and more power. Oh yeah, right. The more powerful motors, the higher. Wait, no, they're the same motors, aren't they? I think they're the same motors, 30,000 kV. So yeah, for me, the Newbie Drone Race Hummingbirds are specifically for hardcore racers. If you are a hardcore racer and you don't want to deal with direct soldering, and just the whole pain in the ass of getting motors that are wound with extra long. I think you have to. How else would you do that? How else would you get a motor with the winding material long enough to direct solder? I think you have to hand wind a motor. Or oh no, Tiny Whoop sells the motors that have the enamel copper winding material extra long on them. So that's what you, yeah. So but the race is like, I want the most hardcore race Tiny Whoop build, but I don't want to custom build it myself. And so you buy the race, it's ready to go. When you break it, you fix it, but you don't have to go through that initial. But to me, it's for the most hardcore race folks. Rio Lai says, so we talked about that. Apache Smoke says, good evening. Islander FPV says, custom Whoop drone motors, basement bashers, or basement bangers. Interesting. I never thought about bringing the word basement into the mix. That's pretty cool. I am a basement dweller, am I not? Basement dweller is what Jimmy Broadbent calls sim racing weebs. Basement bashers. Basement bashers is a pretty cool name. Basement bashers or basement bangers. That is a good one. Islander FPV coming through with two really good name possibilities. Dronesin says, happy Sunday. Frank Nicholas says, nozzle clogging is usually due to impurities in the filaments you use. That's interesting. I'm using SaneSmart, which I understand is really good. I think what happened this time is just because I hadn't cleaned the build plate in a while. Because like it didn't stick to the build plate, and then it all got wound around the nozzle. And then I cleaned the nozzle, got all that crap out. I purged it and whatever. And then I just wiped down the build plate with ISO, and I just printed the same job. I didn't change anything, and it was totally fine. So I'm pretty sure it was because the nozzle did not clog internally. It clogged like externally. Maybe that's not even considered a nozzle clog, but whatever. Bad says, just installed a RunCam Nano 7 in a build, and the wires come out on the top. That's interesting. I just learned the hard way. Good to know. Thank you, dude. The wires come out the top. On most cameras, the wires come out the bottom. So that is really good to know. I'm actually going to put a little arrow on mine, pointing upwards. I'm going to try to put a little arrow on it. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, yeah. Good to go. Whether or not I'll remember to look for that arrow is another story entirely. But that is good to know. Thank you for that, dude. There's a little chip on the back that is big enough for you to put a little arrow on. So I recommend doing that if you buy a RunCam Nano 7. How's the camera look? Is it super bright like the FXT camera? Hopefully it looks good. Weebleed says, talk about frames. If you visit my site and check the clearance section, 65mm Beta OGs and Air price drop discounted. Once they're gone, they're gone. $420, the weed number, making room for a new frame drop. Oh shit. Let's take a quick look. I love clearance sections. I'm such a sucker for clearance sections of websites. There you go. Beta FPV Meteor 65. I guess this is the old school one, right? Old school Meteor 65. This is like the basher of all basher frames. And then here's the Meteor 65 Air. Nice and lightweight, but in terms of durability, these two are polar opposites. For me, the Meteor 65 Air frame is the least durable of the current lightweight frames. Welcome to the world of lightweight. You know, when something is super lightweight, it's typically not super durable. It's not durable. I've seen lots of people using this Meteor 65 Air frame. Sometimes I feel like I break them more than other people. because I have heard from a bunch of people that they don't have problems with the Meteor 65 air braking. I certainly do. And then this is the old school Meteor 65 frame, which is just stupidly durable. Just stupid durable. It's not as lightweight as a lot of the current ultra lightweight frames, but if you want just the basher 65mm frame, this is the one. And it looks like he's got this in a shitload of different colors, which is really cool. Good lord, dude, you've got a lot of these frames, Zotek. Holy shit, bro. There you guys go. 420. Get you some OG and lightweight Meteor frames. And it sounds like there's a new frame coming, which is super cool. Uriel says, experimenting with props are learning tools. Indeed. Indeed, my friend. Kelvin Knudsen is in the chat. What's up, dude? He says, just came in from flying my 3.5-inch Granderino. Cheeks are frozen, but I almost got a Matty flip today. Nice, man. Tommy YouTube's did the thing. Scrolling back up to find where I was. Come on. Where were we? Tommy News says, what's up, dude? Sir Dragston says, would you rather buy Betaflight 30,000 kV or Happy Model 28,000 kV motors for an Air 65 build? So those two motors are going to be completely different. Betaflight rated KVs are low. Happy Model rated KVs are high. So a Betaflight 30,000 kV motor is going to make like the equivalent of like 34 or 35,000 kVs worth of power. A Happy Model 28,000 kV motor is going to make the equivalent of like 24 or 25,000 kV. So between those two motors, it's totally different. That Betaflight motor is going to make shitloads of power, but not be all that efficient. The Happy Model motor is not going to make a lot of power, but it's going to be crazy efficient. So that should be an easy decision for you, man. What do you want? Lots of power and like mediocre efficiency, or not a lot of power but mega efficiency? Whoopi says, hey, happy Sunday. I'm curious to know how you organize all your FPV parts. Do you have a storage system or anything? I do. I kind of do. I keep boxes. I have a. I'm a little bit of a tree hugger. I'm much more of a tree hugging hippie than most. I was raised when my father was working for Princeton Plasma Physics Lab. They had the tokamak plasma fusion reactor. Alternative energy, right? And so my formative years were spent with a father that worked in alternative energy. And when that happens, you have like a base thing implanted in your brain of like, don't just throw shit away. Don't just ruin the planet. Like, do what you can within reason for there to be an Earth that is not ruined for future generations. And so, like, there are certain things that drive me insane, like packing material, right? Like, it's bad enough that we spend all this money on diesel fuel for tractor trailers to bomb up and down every single highway, moving this from one state to the next state. If we can, and so like when I order, I've moved away from ordering from Amazon. I've moved towards ordering on eBay for, to be honest, political reasons. Bezos is just trash. But what's cool about that is eBay allows you to sort by nearest first. And I've always loved that. So like when you search for a product on eBay and you get a bunch of returns on the search, you can literally sort it so that the one that's closest to you is first. And so you can buy stuff that's a little bit more local. And so that's one way to kind of help. Another way to help is like packaging supplies, right? Like all these boxes that we get, we then just like recycle them. Well, recycling is pretty, it's not We don't get all of the energy. We don't get even close to all of the energy out of something when we recycle it. And so, you know, the 3 R's, right? Reduce, reuse, recycle. Recycle is third for a reason. It's like the last resort. Reduce and reuse are much better for the earth. And so reuse, right? And so like when I get when I get like boxes in, I always kind of think like, hey, can I reuse these boxes in some way, which drives Maggie insane. These boxes here were from FPV Crate, and they're like decent quality boxes, but they're matching boxes, and so I hoarded a whole bunch of them, and then I just labeled them cameras, VTXs, micro frames, just frames, ducts, and so yeah, a whole bunch of boxes. So like for example, right, when you buy stuff from Newbie Drone, it typically comes in these square little boxes. This is a perfect box to do that with. When the key to me is the boxes being the same size, right? Because then you can find like a spot for them where you can line them up all nice and save a bunch of space. And so, yeah, if you have like boxes in your life that you get and they're the same size over and over again, they tend to be a really nice starting point for kind of getting organized. Label them, get your stuff into them. You know, you've got a nice flat panel here. You can label what it is, get your shit in there, get it onto a shelf, and then you can stack one on top, stack it next, and away you go. So that's something that I do. Again, reuse your prop bags, your propeller bags for 5-inch and micro props. These are awesome. Don't just throw them away. Save them, and then you put your stuff into them, and you get organized in that way. You know, you have a bunch of smaller bags. You drop them into one of the bigger bags, and these are all my 1.4-inch props, all in one spot in one big bag, segmented in the smaller bags. So yeah, keep your propeller bags. It's tough because like you don't want to be a hoarder, right? But like I don't know, when for me, when I get like a few boxes or whatever that are the same size, I'll be like, ooh, let me hang on to these. Back when I used to order from Amazon, Amazon ships in like they have box sizes. They have boxes that are this big, then this big, then this big. If I got a few orders that were all in this size box, I would put them aside and just save those identical sized boxes. This toolbox is also super nice. So this is a machinist toolbox, and it's sized really nicely for these things. So you can fit like a bunch of these guys in there. These are a bunch of old RunCam boxes here. Again, same size boxes. You can find an area where they fit perfectly, right? And then like over here, right? Another spot for these kind of boxes. Another spot. I might have enough tools to fill this entire thing, but instead of just dumping all the tools that I own into this machinist toolbox, I have this filled with the tools that I'm going to use here. If I'm realistically not going to use the tool here, it goes out into the garage. And so that leaves me some extra room in there to put stuff, right? Like toolboxes are not just for tools. And then up on top of it, I've got a ton of extra shit up here. But yeah, and a bunch of those extra little boxes. You can get these little segmented boxes on eBay really cheap. Like you can get like 5 of these for like $10, and they're awesome. They're segmented off. They don't pop open. Really, really, really nice. And then the tools that I use constantly are here, so that I don't have to open this toolbox all the time. So and if you put them on a microfiber or something like this. They don't make noise. They don't roll all around. And so, yeah. The stuff that you use constantly, if you have the space for it, leave them out. The toolbox that's in front of the work area, only have stuff that you're going to use there, and then use the rest of the stuff for like part storage, and yeah, away you go. But the most important part of it, the most important part to getting organized is not having a plan. It's not buying a bunch of stuff. It's to just start getting organized right now. Like actually right now. Walk away from this live stream, turn the volume up so that you can hear it, and start literally right now. Go organize something right at this very moment. And then tomorrow, when you walk past that thing that you organized, and you're like, ooh, that looks good, or all organized like that, then you're like, well, let me do one more thing, and then you do one more thing tomorrow, and then 4 days from now you do another thing, right? And then it just builds that habit. Staying organized. It has nothing to do with the boxes or the plan or any of that shit. It has to do with building it as a habit, forming a habit around it. And so you have to just do it over and over and over and over and over again. If you have 30 seconds for 30 seconds free, you organize something really quick. That could be just putting 3 little bags away. And like, I'm a mess. I am not organized right now at all. But it's not that bad at the moment. And it's all you like. I am organized, like in the drawers and stuff. I have a lot of stuff sitting out on the desk. I personally kind of do that to remind myself. Like, I have these 3 1002 motors sitting here that have been sitting here for a long time. They're just to remind me that I haven't tested them yet, and that I want to test them. And so, like, I'll leave stuff out that like as a reminder to myself. Once I've used it or done the thing that I'd planned on for it, then it'll go away. But like right now, I have a lot of stuff sitting out because I have a lot of little reminders of things that I want to get done. Which is it's tough to balance that, but that's yeah, it's the way it is. Good question, dude. Uriel says they should copy DJI. Chinese copy everything. I'm not sure of it, but I bet that they do. Rio Lice, Blue Sky says DJI owns Hasselblad. I have a tough time believing that. Hasselblad is an old school photography company that I would think that they are way bigger than DJI, which would mean that DJI could never afford them. Is that a real thing? The internet never lies. Does DJI own Hasselblad? Oh, for fuck's sake. Does DJI own Hasselblad? Oh my god, Hasselblad acquired by DJI 8 fucking years ago. What? Wow. Okay. Hasselblad makes beautiful, among other things, beautiful glass for in the photography world. Glass as in lenses. Wow, man. Okay. Interesting. The Verge says that DJI is likely to support Hasselblad with financial backing, engineering resources, and manufacturing expertise. Damn. Well, that's pretty cool. That means that DJI yeah, that means that the lenses on DJI cameras are way better than I ever thought that they were. That's pretty cool. Rio Lai says, so do you think it's worth it to ditch Walksnail for DJI O4? It is not that simple. I mainly fly smaller quads cinematically, a bit of freestyle. The only thing that's holding me back is price and no HDMI out support. Yeah, it's Walksnail versus DJI O4 is like a half an hour long conversation. There's things that are great about Walksnail. There's things that are great about DJI. Every single one of us has a completely separate set of wants and needs and desires. And so, yeah, there's not a one-size-fits-all solution. There's all kinds of things that that either one of those do better. I talked about it quite a bit on a stream recently. So if you go to my channel here, if you go to any channel on YouTube, there's a little magnifying glass. This will search just within the channel. So if I search for walk snail DJI, I'm just searching for walk snail DJI. All right, so this is a good one. Walk snail is still really good. 1 month ago, this is a really good stream. We kind of talk about it
the next level
in there a little bit, and then here DJI O4. Was this before I flew it? That's going to be the most recent. That's probably the best stream where we kind of dive into the differences between either one. From a raw image quality standpoint, though, walk snail will never get there. They will never match DJI. So if the quality of the DVR is top priority or higher priority than everything else combined, it's a no-brainer. It's DJI O4. But keep in mind that there are usually other things involved. Do you want to be able to use different camera? Like, DJI is not swappable. Like, it's the Lite or it's the Pro, and that's it. There's no camera options. There's no lens options. There's nothing. It's one or the other, and that's it. Walk snail, you're going to have lots of options. You can swap cameras. You can swap cables. You can swap BTXs. It's going to be much more of a DIY kind of ecosystem, and that's great. There's a lot of benefits to that. So, yeah, that's kind of a big conversation. So just research the hell out of both, and you'll get there. Denzel the Turtle says, no way a 1.2-inch CCD fits in that cam. Yeah, exactly. Matthew W says, digital zooming on camera end. Digital zooming on camera end. Digital zooming on camera and of low bitrate long range link has some benefit, I guess. I'm having a hard time with that. But having a zoom for long range, that's an interesting thought. I didn't think about long range. Yeah, that's interesting. It might be cool if you're doing long range to be able to zoom in on the fly. Yeah, you're just losing pixels, but like in the goggles, you're not getting all the pixels. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I guess it depends if it's digitally zooming on. So like, recording on board in 4K. 4K doesn't come through to the goggles. You get like 720 or 1080 in the goggles. If it's zooming on 4K, then you're actually not losing pixels because the goggles are only getting 720p or 1080p. And so if that's what's going on, that's kind of cool. But if it's zooming into the 1080 that the goggles are getting, then it doesn't really make any sense because 1080 in the goggles, if you digitally zoom, the pixels are going to get bigger. Does that make sense? So yeah, that's interesting. We'll probably have to wait and see until it gets actually reviewed. Frank Nicholas says, zoomed in by flight controller means you control the zoom via the flight controller transmitter switch. Yep. Frank was probably typing that before I got to that part of the section of their website. Andrew Taylor says, a 1-inch sensor isn't actually 1 inch. It's from the old days when cameras have tubes. Really? What is that about? He says, if you Google, why is a 1-inch sensor not 1 inch, that will explain better than I can. Interesting. So I guess they're hiding behind that. I've never run into that. 1-inch sensors are actually way smaller than 1 inch. The diagonal of these sensors only measures 0.63. Oh my god, what is that about? That sucks a big bag of donkeys. Uriel says, why is YouTube so bad? And it zooms you to the bottom of your chat all the time. No, he says, my friends have man caves. It's the place where the women want them. Basement, shed, attic, hideout places. Sorry. No. It's the place that men tend to want to go. Women are much more understanding, and they would be much... It's us, Uriel. It's not... Women don't want us in man caves. We want to be in man caves surrounded by our toys. Let's just be real about that. Women would love to spend more time with us usually. it's us, brother. Own it. We're the shitheads, not them. They are smarter than us. They are better adjusted than us. They're more well adjusted than us. They are much more emotionally intelligent than us. We are the cavemen that want to hit things with clubs and do bad, gross things to them. It's us, brother. Own it. It's us, man. It's us. We're the shitheads. Higgy47 says, the sooner you realize that, the better relationships you will form with women. And it's okay, man. It's all of us. You know, like I bust my ass to be the most modern version of masculine as possible. You know, because that has changed quite a bit. It's no longer you know, masculinity is no longer wearing Carhartt and saying horrible things to women as they walk by on the street. Those days are gone, and it's a good thing. And so, yeah, it's all good, man. Women need to be the future if we have any hope for the human race. If men keep making all the decisions, we're gonna burn through this planet's resources and or just kill each other. So yeah, the sooner we get more females into leadership positions, the better. Higgy47 says, I just bought all the parts to build the Vision 40 DJI Lite 2S. What do you think about the durability of the drone? I've been pretty shocked by the durability of the O4 Lite 2S builds that I've done. The Vision 40 has a big old TPU canopy that's apparently very durable, so that's a good thing. So yeah, you'll dig it. They're amazing. Bad says, RunCam 7 image in Discord. Oh wow, that looks really good. How the hell does that look so good? Oh wait, no, it's your phone. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I'm the stupidest person on earth. I thought this whole image was from the fucking... Oh wow, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, you're taking a picture with your phone of the RunCam Nano 7. I mean, it's hard to tell. It doesn't look bad, but yeah. Jesus, that was rough. Uriel says, I love my Thria and animals more than people. I don't know what Thria is, but yeah, animals are pure, bro. Animals tend to not be evil like us. Whoopi says, thank you for sharing. You're certainly welcome. Uriel says, you can print very nice inlay for toolbox. Ooh, good call. Oh, hold on. Never thought about that. Who's this toolbox made by? Kennedy? Kennedy. Nope. Kennedy tool. Oh, shit. All right. Oh boy. All right, I gotta go, guys. This is more important. Oh, yo. What? 3D printed inserts for Kennedy Machinist toolboxes. What? All right. Luckily, there's only a couple of them. Although, wait, it keeps going. Hey, Teddy, you don't have to bark ever. 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 Hey! I tried. Okay. Luckily, there's only a few. Well, that's a great search result. Luckily, there's only a few. And it doesn't look like any of them use tools that I use, so that's interesting. What is happening? Thingiverse, your website is so bad. How is this real life? Oh my god, what? What? There's more. There's more than I thought. Oh my god. Oh, dude. Oh, what? Yo! Oh, bro. Oh, what? Dude. Okay. I'm gonna leave this open in a tab to ruin my life. Good call. Sorry. Look, sometimes I'm streaming for over 10 hours a week. Sometimes it's just for me. Sometimes it's just me time. Oh, there's a man here. I think to look at the patio and see how to fix the things. Brian Kirk says, can't organize now at my daughter's soccer game. Kelvin Knudsen says, you're turned up loud in the background as I prep and organize my analog tiny whoop bag. Nice. Kazuma says, any tips on Matty flips? It's this week's iGal 5 challenge. I'm using a brushed newbie drone B-Brain Pro. That's going to be tough. Matty flips, you got to have some power. Just like power loops, you got to have a good chunk of power. Doable. The main trick to Matty flips is to wait for full throttle. So you're going to come up, you're going to come over the thing, you're going to front flip, you're going to wait. Right here is where you want to hammer the throttle. And what's nice is, right here, your camera is looking straight up. And so if you're doing it outside, when you see all sky, or if you're doing them inside, when you see all ceiling, that's when you want to hammer the throttle. You've got a bunch of forward momentum, and now you've got a bunch of downward momentum. And so when this thing is at a 45-degree angle, that's where you want to hammer it. So it goes up and back, right? So you're coming forward and down, you hammer it here, and then it pushes it down and back. And so that's the main trick, is just to wait and be patient until you see all sky, and then you're going to blast the throttle as it continues to rotate around. You're going to back off on the throttle. You don't want to keep a lot of throttle because then it's going to go up. You want to arrest the fall and the forward movement and move back on a flat plane. So it's going to be hit the throttle and then back it off slowly. But you want to wait until you're looking straight up in the air, all sky. That's the main thing. I'll do a bunch of Matty flips when we're testing this thing. Frank Nicholas says, DJ, I bought them years ago. Flakadelic says, what are the dimensions on your basement? This basement is basically like a 700 square foot apartment. I don't know what the actual measurements are. My guess would be like 30 by like 20 or so is my guess. Yurio says, don't be so serious. Whoopi says, I'm not a fan of the tune on my Mobula7 O4, but don't know how to tune. What are your thoughts on presets and Betaflight? Any recommendations of which one might be good for Mobula7? Don't use presets. Presets are set up for like a specific build that is being flown by a specific pilot. You do not have that exact build. You are not that exact pilot. Tuning is outrageously simple. You're going to take, and I'm going to do it on this rig in a little bit here, but basically the super easy button for tuning is to take the last slider, the master multiplier slider, and move it up. If it's at 1.0, move it to 1.2. Fly the rig around, see if it feels better, see if it does anything weird that it wasn't doing previously. Then you move it up to 1.4, same thing. 1.6, same thing. 1.8. At some point, you'll make the tune too aggressive, and it'll tell you. It'll try to fly away, 0 throttle. It'll just start acting weird and sounding weird. At that point, you back it off, and now your tune is about 85% perfect. And that's it. Super, super, super simple. If you're really nervous about it, take a picture in Betaflight of the slider settings before you start tuning, and then you can always go back to that. But yeah, don't be afraid of tuning. You can always move the sliders back. Usually, it's very difficult to make the tune so aggressive that it hurts the hardware itself. It'll usually, like, you'll arm it and it'll fly away all on its own long before it's going to blow anything up. And so as long as you're paying attention, you'll be totally fine. Danzel the Terrible says, if you want custom, send me those files and I can model you custom inserts for your toolbox. Oh my God. The problem, as much as satisfying as that would be, the problem a lot of times with those custom beautiful inserts is that there's a bunch of wasted space around each thing. So like as an example, right? I have this one drawer where I put all these screwdrivers. And like, yes, it's kind of annoying that these move around a little bit, but they don't. They really don't move around. And I can fit a shitload of these in here because I'm putting them right next to each other. You know what I mean? And I'm also doing it like handle against, you know, flipping them every other. So yeah, as satisfying as those toolbox inserts would be, I've sort of already done that in this toolbox. Like I've already sort of made my own little insert setup. The dividers, those last couple things that I clicked on in Thingiverse, those dividers, those would be more valuable. Just to, you know, take a big, not a big, but like a bigger area and then segment it up so you can put smaller stuff in there. But like, to be honest, like this toolbox is already kind of maxed out. Like I've got everything has a place. Everything is held in reasonably well. Here's another drawer that I have like up, down, up, down, up, down kind of set up. And like, you know, it just doesn't, like, yeah, sure, these shift forward a little bit when I close this hard, but like, it doesn't really matter. I appreciate it, dude. And I'll think about it. I had actually never thought about that. And so if there's a, now that that's a thought process in my head, I might actually think like, oh, you know what? This one drawer would be cool with a divider up the middle. I'll bug you for sure if I think of something. Gert Jan says, give your dog something to eat, man. He eats plenty. Don't you worry about him from a eating standpoint. He's a fat little dog. Frank Nicholas says 3D printed 3D printed organizer system Gridfinity. I've actually heard of Gridfinity. It's from the guy that wears the thing, right? Yeah, Zach. The guy that custom built Google Glass and somehow is not ashamed to wear it. Good for him. I've heard really good things about Gridfinity. That's really cool. The best things in life are integer multiples of 42 by 42 by 7. That's awesome. Frank Nicholas says, skip through the video to get an idea. I've seen it. It's really, really cool. Uriel says, and Ho has to do it. There's a man. I don't know what that means. Frank Nicholas dropping a link to thangs.com. Is that another? It is. Thangs.com is another 3D printing website that I hadn't heard of. Oh boy, here we go with... Look at all this Gridfinity shit. Holy hell. Oh my god. Run away, Ciotti, run away. Levster says, you missed my message. Do you have a lot of unbalanced 1.4 HQ ultralights? Because out of 5 bags, all of them are imbalanced. I have not noticed that. But I tend to assume that propellers are going to be balanced, and so they might be out of balance. We'll take a look on either tomorrow night or Wednesday's live stream when I do the other 1.4-inch build. Yeah, good call on that one, brother. All right, I'm finally caught up. Dave S says only boomers take pictures of the screen. You can also do a screenshot, a screen set. Is this called a screenshot? I don't know what it's called. Share screen? No, that's not it. Newbie drone, Hummingbird. What is it? Race Spec V2. That's it. There's the Hummingbird V4, but then the old Hummingbird Race was called like the Hummingbird Race V3.1 or something, right? But now this is V2, but it's actually newer. But the V3.1 was referring to like that's where the Hummingbird AIO was. Here we go. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Newbie Drone very kindly sent me the brand new Hummingbird Race V2. Let's take a look at it as it explodes out of the box. It's so fast, even the box can't keep it contained. It went flying out of the box there. We got some foam. Box is now empty. We've got an extra set of the Newbie Drone, 2 extra sets, actually, of the Newbie Drone Azzy props, and there's another set that's on the quad itself. We've got an extra set of the ultra short motor screws, which is great. Extra grommet, extra canopy screws. Very cool. As an example of my tree huggerism, I save this foam. All the foam that comes in these things, I save it, and then I use it as packaging material when I ship stuff out. So I have a little spot where I put all the foam that I get, and then I have a box in the garage where I put it. Little callback for the last 10 minutes of this live stream. Very nice little instruction manual showing simple stuff, which is great, because if you're not a total nerd with FPV, the simple stuff really does matter. It drives me crazy when they don't, when the manufacturers don't give you at least a tiny little thing with a quick start guide or just anything on it. So yes, hooray for that. Bag of goodies. It looks like there is a, oh, that's interesting. We'll talk about that in a minute. Looks like there's one of these little prop pullers, which doesn't really work all that well. It just bends as soon as you put any force into it, so I don't really use these. I throw these right away. An extra canopy, which is kind of cool. And this thing, which is a dongle of sorts. Oh boy. So this is a very different AIO. Yeah, this is absolutely not the Hummingbird V4 AIO. This is a whole new thing. And this little guy is a dongle, which has USB-C and then a bunch of naked pins here. And so somewhere on this, so this AIO does not have USB on it. One of the things that Betaflight seems to have figured out first is that the USB ports are heavy. So if you remove the USB port from the AIO and put something else on there that's lighter, you can save a bunch of weight. The way that Betaflight has been doing it is with JST plugs. And so they give you this little dongle, which has a cable coming off of it to a JST 1.0 or 1.25, and then on the AIO is a JST plug, and you plug this guy in there, and now you've got your USB. Newbie Drone, it would appear, has taken that to the next level, and this just has pins. This just has naked pins, and that's going to have to go on the board somewhere, and I'm thinking that it's right back there. That's pretty extreme. I'm not going to lie, that is ultra extreme in terms of weight saving. So there you go. You can see no USB port whatsoever. Okay. Logitech camera just packed up and went to lunch. Let's see. So it would appear that this is going to drop. Whoa. It would appear that this is just going to drop right onto the AIO back here. Oh boy. Oh, nope, there it goes. So I didn't need magnification. I was able to get it on there. So it sits just like that. See it back there in the corner? It just drops right down into those pins. My worry is that, like, it's not going to want to make contacts, but if it works, it works. And they've saved the weight of a JST plug on the board. And so let's take a look. The first thing I'm super curious about is, will that, like, is it going to lose connection? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not, we haven't, like, obviously we're not going to solder those pins on. Is it going to be a situation where, like, you have to keep the board perfectly in position on your desk, or else it's going to lose contact? The answer appears to be no. I have it plugged into USB, and I'm moving the cord around, and the pins are moving in the holes, but it's fine. Is there more of a chance that you'll accidentally bend these pins putting this thing in your bag? Sure. You just bend them back. That's wild. That is a wild amount of light weighting. But if it works, it works. This thing is now plugged in. Betaflight is coming up here. And so we've got a Betaflight connection. Ready? So we've got, well, here, let's actually connect. Oh, no, this will be perfect. So we're actually going to connect. And now you're going to see this model move around as I move this thing around to see if I can get it to break. That's exactly what I was worried about. Let's try it again. So it's connected. I'm just going to, the quad is now sitting on my thigh. I'm going to pick it up and move it to the desk. Yeah, okay. So that's what I was worried about. You've got pins going into holes, and the holes are meant to be soldered down. But in this case, you want this thing, you need this thing to be removable, so you can't solder it down. But here's the deal. I plug this in, I leave it on the desk, I connect to Betaflight, I'm just not going to touch it. That makes this screen a little bit more difficult, like seeing if the AIO is rotated correctly. But to be honest, like, you really only need to do that, and now I know that the AIO is oriented properly, and now I can just put this thing in a stationary position on the desk, and now we're fine. Well, this is Betaflight being silly. Okay. And so now we're fine. So you're not going to be able to hold it in your hand while you're in Betaflight, but who gives a shit? They saved some weight by doing this, and they made the board flatter, right? The JST plugs are kind of tall. The USB ports are way tall. So that makes this board more mountable. But you're always going to have to make sure that you have access to that the left rear of the board so that you can drop this little dongle down on there. So that in that way, it's going to limit, like, mountability. But, you know, it's just a thing. The top of the board is going to have to be accessible for this to drop onto. Although, I mean, once you get a good Betaflight tune, you know, once you get Betaflight dialed in, you don't really need to make many changes, and you can go into the OSD and make most changes. So, not really the end of the world. That's pretty cool. That's actual innovation right there, you know, which we don't get tons of anymore as things get better and better and better. So here we are in Betaflight. We've got nothing crazy in the ports tab. Hummingbird Race Spec V2. 8K on the gyro and the PID loop frequency. That's pretty cool. That means that it's not a BMI 270. I like that. Everything here looks good. Air mode is permanently on. That's fine for the time being. LED strip is on, so apparently there are some, maybe? I don't see any LEDs on it, but we haven't put full power to it. Maybe it needs that. OSD's turned on. D-Shot beacon configuration is turned on. That's great. We're going to save and reboot because I changed the craft name. Dave S says, maybe bottom mount this flight controller with the right frame. Yeah, you're going to have to make sure that you're able to have access to the top of the AIO in the left rear, opposite side of the battery leads. Alright, power and battery. Hey, minimum cell voltage 3.3, warning cell voltage 3.4. I love those values. Failsafe, I'm going to move this to 3 seconds. You probably shouldn't, but it's just a tiny whoop, so who cares? It's not going to hurt anybody. That's the amount of time that it waits to get... If it stops getting a signal from your transmitter, that's the amount of time that it's going to wait before it drops it out of the air, is right here. Period of time in stage 1, failsafe after signal loss. The default value is 1.5 seconds, which is great, but I like 3 seconds, especially with something this small. Presets, we don't need to touch. PID tuning. They've done some tuning. Oh, wow. It's detuned from stock, which I'm not totally make a ton of power. But yeah, our values are lower than 1.0 on the majority of this stuff. Although I love seeing that they've got this pitch damping cranked up a little bit. I'm actually going to, well, no, let me fly it on the totally stock tune. Eye gains are up at 1.1. I love that. Dynamic damping is 0.85. I love that. Stick response is tuned way up at 1.15. This is a race rig. That makes sense for racers. Oh my God, they're using dynamic idle. Look at that. It's really high. The dynamic idle value is really high, but I'm surprised they're using it. Motor output limit 100%. Dynamic damping. Oh my God, there's like no jitter reduction. This is set up hardcore for racing. The rates you're going to change anyway. I'm going to change these right off the bat. Not 400. We just want 40 there. It's not set up with hardcore race rates, but that doesn't matter. You're going to change the rates to your own. No throttle expo, that's fine. Filter settings. A lot of gyro filtering. Oh my God, the dynamic notch filter is turned off. This is a really aggressive setup. I'm going to turn the dynamic notch filter back on. Bring it down to 1 notch. I would just rather have a little bit of extra filtering. Q factor is nice and high. That's good. Max frequency is probably high enough. So I'm going to turn this dynamic notch filter on, and then I'm going to reduce the amount of gyro filtering here by boosting it up to 2. And then I'll save this. Wow, there's a lot of D-term filtering as well. The D-term filtering is down at 0.9. That's a lot. I lied. I'm going to set this back the way that it was and fly it stone stock. And then I'm going to come in and screw around with it a little bit. Receiver tab. We do not have the ability to just type in a binding phrase, but we can Dial the rest of this stuff in, a little bit of dead bands. You don't have to do any of this stuff. This is kind of getting a little bit advanced, but this is kind of the way that I set up most stuff. Modes tab. Let's turn off angle mode. We'll put horizon mode where I usually have it. Again, this is my personal kind of setup. Your personal setup should be different. However you like your switches to be, this is just how I personally do it. This is absolutely not the right way to do it. This is just how I do it. There's kind of no reason for you to follow me through this, but I need to do this in order to be able to fly this damn thing. And, you know, this is a cool way to have it set up. So if you copy this, it's totally fine, but you don't like need to copy. There's no reason to copy this. Adjustments. I have a cool little clean OSD setup that I do here. OSD profile selection, aux2. So it's you enable it, aux2, full range, OSD profile selection, aux2. And then that allows you to use the 3 different OSD profiles that exist. There are 3 individual OSD profiles. So that aux2 switch, if I have it in the top position, it's going to tell me what my roll angle is. If I put that switch into the middle or the bottom position, I'm going to lose the roll angle OSD element. And you can set up your entire OSD like that. It's really, really cool. So you can have like a full OSD, a partial OSD, and a clean OSD. You can, whatever. There's a lot of different cool things you can do with that. Motors tab, it looks like it's set up for props out. I'm going to leave it alone for now. D-Shot 600. Bidirectional D-Shot is turned on. That's great. That probably means it has Blue Jay. 12 motor poles, that's all good to go. OSD, you know, you're going to set up your own OSD. Video transmitter, it's set up for Fat Shark 4 out of the box. That's very specific. I run Raceband 8, so I'm going to make that change. This VTX does give you a 400 milliwatt option if you're going to fly it outside. I'm not going to fly it outside. I'm going to fly it inside where 25 milliwatts is king. And then low power disarm, I always turn this to on until first arm. What that does is if you plug a battery into the quad, it'll run the VTX at the lowest possible output to keep it as cool as possible. As soon as you arm it, it's going to flip it to whatever the output is that you have set. And then it's going to stay there. So if you arm it, it goes up to 400 milliwatts maybe if you have it cranked up for flying outside. When you disarm it, it's going to stay at 400 milliwatts. So if you flew it really far away and you disarmed it, if you have low power disarm set to just on, when you're far away and you disarm it, you're going to lose video. And then you're going to have to rearm it to get video back, which can be a pain in the ass. If you've like flipped upside down and you're really far away, it's going to be a pain in the ass because you're going to disarm it. You're going to lose video. You're not going to know if you're right side up, left side low, right side low. On until first arm for me is the best low power disarm setting because when you first plug it in, that's when there's a chance of you just sitting it down and leaving it for a while. And that's when it's going to be at the lowest power setting. So that's what you should put low power disarm in 99% of the scenarios. LED strip, let's see. Okay, so even though in the configuration LED strip is turned on, multi RGB LED support, this AIO actually doesn't have the fun AIOs, RGB LEDs like the Hummingbird V4 has, which makes sense. This is a hardcore race build. This is not about looking good. This is about going fast. We're good there. Video transmitter, OSD, motors, black box. Does it have black box? It does not have black box. CLI. I have a couple things that I put into the CLI, like crash recovery, and I just have that in a little clipboard. If you want to try crash recovery, these are the settings that work really well for me. They might not work really well for you. You're going to crash differently than me, and you're just going to want crash recovery to feel a little bit differently than me. So you can dial these in, but this is a really good starting point. You can just turn it on. It does have a bunch of defaults. I don't find the defaults to be very good. This is a better set of defaults if you want to try using crash recovery. Crash recovery, basically, when it sees a massive G-force spike that you typically get when you smack into something, it turns the accelerometer on for a split second, and it finds level. It is a miracle. Crash recovery is absolutely fantastic. Every once in a while, it'll screw you over, but it will save your ass way, way, way more times than it screws you over. And then I've got my specific OSD just in the clipboard here. And so I can just dump that in, hit save, and now my specific OSD is ready to go. You can do that very easily by going to the CLI and typing get GET space, I take it back. You're going to type diff, D-I-F-F. I take it back. You're going to type, I take it back. You are going to type diff. Hold on. Will dump all give you the sets? It will not. Yes, it will. Okay, you're going to type dump all. Dump all into the CLI. It's going to go bananas. You're going to scroll up. You're probably going to have to scroll way up. What you're looking for is set space OSD. So just keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Eventually, you'll see set space OSD. You're going to have to scroll far. There it is. There's going to be a big section of set OSD stuff. This is your full OSD setup. So you're just going to highlight all of it. Luckily, they put it in one big chunk. There it is. You're going to highlight all of the set OSD section, this big-ass chunk. First, you're going to set your OSD up exactly the way that you want it. And then you're going to do this. And then you can just copy and paste this into a little notepad or sticky or whatever. And then you could just drop that onto every single rig, and it'll put the exact same OSD over and over and over again without you having to go and screw around with it. This is going to cover the elements themselves, where they are, the post-flight statistics, everything, if you do it this way. Dump all. D-U-M-P space A-L-L. And that gives you everything in the CLI, and then you just scroll up, you'll find your set space OSD section. Away you go. Cool. This thing is ready to go, other than... and look, it didn't disconnect at all that whole time because I wasn't sitting here waggling it around, and now it just disconnected. But yeah, this is the ultimate in weight savings USB connectability. Don't lose this, right? That's another potential ding on something like this, is although it's newbie drone, right? And so I'm sure that they'll sell more of these, but you're going to lose it at the worst possible moment, and then you're not going to be able to go to the race or something like that. So like maybe what I would do if I was buying one of these, hopefully they sell this on their website, buy 2 extras. It'll probably be like $2. And so buy 2 extras. One for your desk, one for your flight bag, one that you're going to put in the box on the shelf for down the road when you eventually lose both of yours or whatever. So yeah, there you go. Let's get this thing bound. So since I can't type the binding phrase directly into Betaflight, the simplest possible method is going to be plugging it in a few times. Let's try something. So on the Nomad, there's no screen. And so there's no way to access the just like bind. There's no like bind button on here. Because of the fact that I'm using binding phrases, if I go into the Lua script, it will not let me hit the bind button. It doesn't work. If you choose to use binding phrases, you can no longer use the binding button through the Lua script. But what's super interesting is if your module has a screen on it, weirdly, you can still use the binding button in here. And so let's try that real quick. I kind of don't think this is going to work, but it's worth a quick shot. Because like if you're out somewhere and you don't have a computer or your phone's dead or something like that, this might save your ass. So let's just try this. I think this might work. And so to put this thing, is there a bind button on here? Oh my God, there might be. Hold on. They give you a little piece of paper here that talks about binding. It talks about binding in text that I cannot read with my 44-year-old eyeballs. Binding directions. Hummingbird RS binding procedure. Power on the receiver. Connect it to the USB port or power it on 3 times. So 3 plugs. Blue indicator LED will start a double blink pattern, signaling that it's ready for binding. Cool. Option 2, prepare your remote controller. Oh, no, this is just going through the steps. Ensure that your remote controller is running ELRS version 3 point something to enable successful binding. 3, start the binding place. Once the LED on the receiver begins double blinking, proceed with binding your remote controller. Blah, 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 blah. Cool. So it really wants you to do 3 plugs, and that's what we're going to do. You don't have to do it through USB, but you certainly can. So we are now powered up here. I'm going to go onto the little screen here, hold the button, go up to bind mode, hit the button, press to send binding request. Oh, it pops right out of binding mode. Okay, so I don't think this is going to actually work, but let's try it anyway. So we're going to plug 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times. Blue LED, blink, blink. Blink, blink. That's a good sign. Bind mode. Press to send binding request. Binding. No way. It worked. Ah, that totally works. So there's a cool... I kind of thought that might work, but I also kind of thought that it wouldn't. So there's here's the real test, though. Here's the real test. So I think the code, the binding code, or whatever the hell you want to call it, that this sent, I think it is a set of numbers that represent my binding phrase, CiottiFPV. My binding phrase is on this as well. So let's see if this is now going to work. Nomad's coming up. And powering up. The Whoop drone. And now let's see. Look at that. Yep. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I gotta admit, that's slick. And to show you what I mean on here, I don't know if I'm actually gonna be able to show you, but I'm gonna try. On here, if I go to the menu and I go to the Lua and I go to Edge TX. Wait, no, I gotta go into scripts and tools. There we go. ELRS V3 Lua. Execute. If I roll down here to bind, right? I ain't gonna want to focus, but just take my word for it. You can see it's on bind. Hit the button. It says script syntax error, bad argument, number 2 to question mark, blah, 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 blah. It's because I'm using the binding phrase. Because I have the CiottiFPV binding phrase in here, the Lua script just won't let you use the bind button, which is super annoying because it obviously works, right? Like there's a way for it to work. I just did it. So I wish My guess is there's some weird thing that prevents you from being able to do it in the Lua script, but I wish that wasn't the case, right? It would be really nice to be able to use the regular 3-plug binding method rather than having to plug this thing in for a minute, wait for it to hook up to Wi-Fi, get your phone or whatever, all that runaround. So yeah. I also wish that the Nomad had a little screen on it. When there's another dual band ELRS module that has a screen on it, I will buy it, because this is a thing with Crossfire. It doesn't seem to be a thing with ELRS, but I've had a number of situations with Crossfire where I show up to work and it's not bound anymore, and I have to rebind like now. And so screwing around with Wi-Fi mode and my phone and shit like that, taking 5 minutes to do it, that's a problem. You know, I need to be able to bind in 30 seconds, not 3 minutes. And so, yeah, there you go. The other way to bind would be to plug this in for a minute. It's going to hook up to Wi-Fi, and then, look, just follow the ELRS binding procedures. The ELRS website is awesome. It's going to walk you through all the binding stuff. But that was really cool. And that solidifies, I've been hanging on to that Naminmo. Oh, you know what's also interesting? They've fixed the crystal oscillator issue. That Naminmo module does not jive with the Hummingbird 3.1. I think it's this one. They did a yeah, it's this one. And it's the previous race, the previous Nubijuran Hummingbird V3.1 race. These would not connect to that Naminmo module. Nubijuran offered, if you had one of these AIOs that has the different crystal oscillator, they offered for you to mail these to them and they would fix it and mail them back. But that's a whole big thing. But yeah, on this new one, they've fixed the crystal oscillator. That's awesome. This now will work with seemingly any ELRS module. This Nomad module, when I got it, I was finally able to connect to the Hummingbird Race. I don't know if you guys remember, late last year, Nubijuran sent me the V3.1 Race, and I didn't have a module that would work with it. So I had to wait for this Nomad module to come in, because it has a crystal oscillator that's more in spec, I guess, than the Naminmo. Whatever. We are ready to go here. Lots of up tilt. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of up tilt. So this has the OG Nubijuran mount that I was not a huge fan of, but it has it set up in the high up tilt orientation. So this mount, you can actually run it upside down. And if you run it upside down, it's the normal configuration like all these other banana hammock G-string mounts, where this mounting point goes backwards. Kind of brilliant setup that Nubijuran has on this mount, where you can flip it around and that piece goes forward. This pushes the camera forward, which is really cool for no ducts in view. But it makes it ultra high up tilt. I wish that there was more of a tail on this. If they made this back part of the mount longer, you could drop the up tilt down lower for more. I mean, I can't because it's tied in there. But you could drop this lower for less up tilt for freestyle kind of stuff. As it is, in order to run freestyle on this, you're going to have to flip the mount upside down. And when you do that, the mount is pretty wobbly and like the camera will not be pointing straight ahead. And basically the very first, that's how the Hummingbird V4 was. And the very first thing that I had to do on this is switch to a camera mount that's more sort of normal. And so we'll probably be doing that on this as well, because this is almost certainly going to be too much up tilt for me. But we'll give it a try. We'll give it a try real quick. Oh my god, whoa, how is it 520 already? Oh, we got a boogie, man. Okay. Yeah, we gotta go. I gotta start flying this thing. Couple of three. We might not compare this to the other rigs tonight. I might have to forego that. I lost track of time. That is my bad. Okay. All right, so let's see. Okay. I already don't like this mount. I don't like this mount in this configuration for the same reason as in the other configuration, which is that it doesn't hold the camera straight. Can you see how not straight that camera is? And now watch, like if I crash and it pushes it like that, that's no good. You can't have the camera coming off axis like that after crashes. I mean, most crashes are going to be sort of more vertical, but yeah, no, that's not. I mean, like, this camera mount is ultra lightweight, which is what matters the most for racers. But this ain't gonna work for me for freestyle or for any kind of cinematic stuff. I'm surprised that I wonder if all the racers take the mount. I would think that the racers wouldn't want that either. I would think that that would be a deal breaker for racers as well. I'm probably only gonna fly one battery with it like this, but let me. Oh boy, the camera is all kinds of rotated in there too. All right, so I'm gonna kind of try my best here. I think maybe I've got the camera rotated. Oh, this is a different camera. This is a this camera has a. Normally the B-Brain cameras have a little bit of a bigger PCB on the back. This camera has a tiny little PCB on it. So this is a totally different camera. Let's stop talking and start flying. Flat spot towards me. This is on a Newbie Drone Light AF frame. Oh my god, I haven't even weighed it. BMF Spade likes the RunCam Nano 7. Good and low light. Bunch of noise, but you can see in the dark pretty good. That's awesome. Newbie Drone Hummingbird Race V2. Oh, wow. 16.46 grams. That's really light. 16.46 with all metal screws in the motors. Damn, dude. 16 and a half. Let's smash it. Here we go. This is a Tattoo 300 mAh BT 3.0 battery. It's got an A30 connector on it, which is great. They have it exiting out the top, which I don't love, but it's okay. Not the end of the world. Oh, it plugs in there kind of loose. That's a little odd. Did I not hit save on the VTX settings? I don't think I did. Hold on. It was on what? It was on a Fat Shark channel? Right? It was on like Fat Shark something. Well, there'll be a race channel that's close enough to the Fat Shark channel. It looks like race. Yeah, I didn't change it. Hang on. So let me just go into the OSD and go to VTX. Yeah, I forgot to hit save. Race band 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to go save and exit. And now you guys should have video. Hey, there we go. So let's go up to race 8. Got it. Ooh, wow, it's quiet. Ooh, it's got power. It's got power and a lot of up tilt. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, okay, hold on. Wow, this is a lot of up tilt. So this has so much up tilt that it's doing that. Wow, it's doing that weird thing where, like, when you get, woo boy, when you get to 45 degrees up tilt and beyond, roll and yaw kind of reverse. They really don't, but this thing happens and it makes me uncomfortable. Oh my god, okay. So the Fat Sharks are beeping like crazy. Look at this up tilt. So it looks like they've got the OSD flickering issue again. That's kind of crazy. And I did not set up no air mode on the Switch. So this is with the stock tune. I can't handle the beeping. Fat Shark, I'm going to light you on fire. Oh my god, I can't handle the beeping. I don't understand how they picked the most annoying beep in the world. All right, so here's the thing. Here's the thing that I don't love. This A30 plug on here, I think that the pins are undersized or something, because when you plug this A30 in to a tattoo battery, it's super loose, and on that crash, and then just now, it's actually losing battery connectivity. This is a quad gas battery. Let's see if this is any better. This is a little bit better. Okay, so this tattoo battery might just be older. Here's a lava battery. It's fine with a lava battery. Okay, so this tattoo battery, and like in the BT 2.0 plugs on the battery, it's two little pieces of metal like this, and so they can go like that. So I'm just gonna jam my fine-tipped tweezers in here one at a time and just push these little guys in. Okay. Just a little bit. And that should fix the issue. But I will say that this A30 feels more loose than most battery connectors. Now let's try it. This is the problem battery. Much better. And now it's not losing. Yeah, so now it's fine. So I don't know if that's a tattoo battery thing or what, but if you have weird connectivity issues, you can fix it on your batteries. Just push these little guys in a little bit, and then it'll feel a little tighter there. Oh wait, no, I didn't even run that whole battery down. Hold up, let's run the rest of that battery. But first, since I've flown for more than 5 minutes, this Fat Shark battery has gone dead. And so let me just get a fresh goggle battery real quick, and we will continue. Here's one. Okay. It's gonna be real hard for me to get used to the up tilt, so don't expect magic until I switch the camera mount on this thing. But I'll try my best. Maybe I'll fly 2 batteries on the crazy up tilt. Racers will love this up tilt. I'll say that. Coming back up. There we go. All right, batteries plugged back in. Let's see if all right, so the camera has not gone drastically off axis yet. That's a bummer that they've got the flickering OSD problems again. But I mean, the OSD is there most of the time. It's just every once in a while it goes away and you get the number 7 at random. Not the end of the world. Wow, this is rough. Okay, hold on. There's also a lot of power. And so the throttle resolution is kind of non-existent. I'm also used to a bunch of throttle expo. Oh boy. This is hard to fly. With the up tilt like this, the faster you go, the easier it's going to be to fly. Oh boy. I just don't fly very fast. I've now destroyed one of these ASI propellers. From that crash there, it now sounds noticeably worse. Okay. I'm gonna do one more battery with the ridiculous up tilt, and then I have to get this into a lower up tilt mode. This is just too much for me to handle. That's a me problem. The camera has now been knocked off kilter. I need to both rotate it straight and point the camera mount straight again. That seems to now be a little bit better. Let me see if I can bend the Azzy propeller back straight. That has... this is me wiggling the plug. So this is a Weebleed battery. I'm wiggling the plug and it's not disconnecting, so that's good. Which Azzy prop just got screwed up is the question. So we're going to go into turtle mode. And we're going to spin each individual motor up. Or not. What? Okay, what's happening here? Oh, there it goes. Okay, turtle mode wasn't working at first, but now it's fine. Motor 1 feels okay. Motor 2 feels okay. 4 feels okay. Okay, it's motor 3. You can hear it. Ready? Listen. Versus. So this... Oh, and I can see it. It's this one blade that got really knocked out of whack. That's a little bit better. This is why I don't run these Azzy props. I find them to be... they're not fragile in the sense of they explode. They're fragile in the sense of the propeller blades get bent. And then they're out of balance. So it'll still be sort of flyable. But it'll be kind of a mess. Let's get this upstairs. Maybe I can put the note... Oh, God! Jesus hell! So it's got so much up tilt that, like, to just cruise around, it's going way faster than... Jesus! It's going way faster than what I'm used to. And so... Whew, boy. Up tilt is something else, dude. I mean, this is how this thing was meant to be flown, though. You know, this is a full tilt race rig. Wow, this is... Whoa! I have no idea where it is. But I see something moving. It's probably just the dog, though. It's probably not a human being that can save me. Hold on. I gotta go retrieve. I gotta get this onto a different camera mount. Okay, here we go. The camera looks okay. It's not muddy at all. There's good contrast. It's, the brights are very bright. Good God, does it have some power. Yeah, so these newbie drone 702. Holy! 702 30,000 kV motors make insane power. Like, power, oh God, power on the level of the Hummingbird 40,000s. Like, ridiculous power. Jesus. Oh my God. This is insanely hard to fly. So there's a Matty flip, and just when I'm looking up at the ceiling, all ceiling, that's when I'm going to blip the throttle. And that's what gives it the rearward momentum to complete the actual Matty flip. The most common Matty flip failure is you go forward. You go forward and you hit the throttle too early. So you don't wait long enough. Actually, no, the problem is you wait too long, come to think of it. You wait too long. I have it ingrained in me not to wait too long. But you wait too long and then it doesn't send itself backwards enough. 3 minutes of runtime, that's not bad. I ran the battery down pretty good, though. But yeah, you hit the throttle too late, and then it doesn't come back under the object. It stays like forward of the object, and that's not a Matty flip. That's just a front flip through a gate or over an object or something like that. Wow, it's good lord. This is gonna be a long live stream. Let me see how quick I can switch this canopy. I can't compare this to anything fairly with the camera the way that it is right now. This is just for my old lack of response time ass. This is it's too much. It's too much up tilt. And also, even if I could get used to the up tilt, the camera is just going to keep, every time I crash, the camera is going to rotate to the left, rotate to the right. And that's going to drive me completely insane. So let's really quickly, how do you get this camera mount off? Oh, okay. There's just enough space. That's super easy. So I'm going to unplug the camera so that I can put it into the mount. I don't even know if I have a mount that's going to work with this camera. This is a different camera. I don't know what the dimensions are here. But I'll see. That's interesting. When the UFL is plugged in, you can't remove the camera plug. That's an interesting way of keeping the camera plugged in. In this particular case, it's kind of annoying, but that's interesting. The UFL port did not rip off when I unplugged the UFL antenna. I can't believe that that's as big of a deal as it is, but it with other manufacturers having such a hard time with that, it's great that I didn't just ruin the board by just unplugging the antenna. So a massive thumbs up for that. Like I said, that should not be a big deal, but alas, here we are. These are the Newbie Drone canopy screws. I like these. They're a little bit longer than the Betaflight ones. All right, so here's the new camera. Spoke too soon. Still fighting with this canopy screw. Here's the new camera. Uh-oh. Is it going to fight me to get it out of this mount? Nah. It's good. Well. No. Hold on. I thought it was just going to... The one side popped out. I was like, surely the other side will just pop out. Yikes. Come on. When you're taking these cameras in and out of the mounts, never, ever, ever pull on the PCB. It's just glued to the front part of the mount, and you can very easily ruin it. Always push on the lens. Push the lens and pull on the mount to get these cameras into and out of the mounts. Never use this PCB to pull. You can use it to push, but don't use it to pull. So this mount's going to go away. This is the new camera. It's a smaller PCB here than the regular BeeEye. This is an old school BeeEye in here. This is the new one. Look how much smaller that is. Isn't that ridiculous? That's a lot smaller. It's going to be a lot lighter because of that too. That's pretty cool. I now immediately forget how this is oriented. But there's like a memory in the wire here. So it's like this. So that's up. This is the top here. Top, bottom, left, right. Cool. Let me see if I have a mount that'll work with this. The old school BriBrain BeeEye mount will not work. This PCB is too small. Where are my little bags of 3D prints? What are you looking at, buddy boy? A little bug on the ground? Here. Step on it and then eat it. That's what you do. Cool? Just got to teach him, man. Benny Bravo says, I know Newbie Drone gets hate from some people, but so far their products have been way more robust than the Air 65 when it comes to taking hard hits. Yeah, Newbie Drone, they get a lot of shit, but they keep making cool stuff, and there's a lot of... Oh, also, this has massive FETs, massive ESC FETs. Way bigger than they need to be, but some people really like that. I'm not on team super over-spec the FETs, but if you are, that's okay. Yeah, that won't work in there. Let's see what else I got here. Ooh, this is Quad 6.6's mount. Will it work in here, maybe? Oh. Nah, it's a little too long. The front end of the mount is a little too... I've been meaning to run this mount, though. I dig it. Let's see what else I got. Ooh, I got this little guy. Let's see if this'll... This might be the one. Teddy, what are you doing over there? Oh, no, it's even too big for this. Man, this PCB is tiny. Top. I might just like force it to try to kind of work in here. Oh wait, no. This is good. We're no, not quite. This is a CO3 mount, I believe. But see, the thing is that the lens barrels are all kind of the same. And so, yeah, this is kind of fine. It's the back of the mount is not fitting tight on here. Like I can kind of close this down, but it's primarily being held in by the barrel part of the mount. And yeah, that's good to go. So let me try one more thing. Somebody mentioned try a pinch mount. The pinch camera has a really small ass end on it. And weirdly, I just had a pinch mount in my hands. It was 2 days ago. Where the hell did I put it? It was a black TPU. I put it on the floor right over here. Damn, I'm good. All right, so here's the pinch mount. Maybe it's sized for that. Let's take a quick look. The only problem with the pinch mount is that it sits flat here, and so it's gonna... Well, let me just test it now. The camera plug being up front... Oh, it's not too bad. Well, no, the UFL is not plugged in. Yeah, the pinch mount ain't gonna work. Because just like the McStinky mount, it sits totally flat, and the top of this board is not totally flat. We've got a camera plug, and then we've got the UFL, which is going to make this pinch mount sit sideways because the UFL is going to sit right here, and it's going to boost it up. And so the pinch mount is not the right setup. A mount like this that lifts the camera up and clears that, this is the way to go. Even though this is going to push into the camera mount a little bit, it's still going to hold the camera straight. So I'm going to put it back in here. This is not a great mount. Like we're going to need slightly different mounts for this camera. Hopefully, whoever created the BeeEye will jump on that. This is the closest BeeEye mount to it. Unless, hold on, there's also this one. Hold on. It's got this weird flap on the back, which I've never quite understood. Just want to see if these are the same dimensions. Yeah, these are the same dimensions on the back. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this BeeEye. Yeah, because it's the same dimensions as this mount. This mount is opened on the top and the bottom for the CO3 to go into. But this is not a CO3. So, okay. This is the top. This is the bottom. So we're going to go in here. And yeah, this will totally work in the interim. But well, you know what? I'll bet you any mount made for the pinch cam. If we can find this style mount for the pinch cam, that's what we would want. And this is damn close to fitting. It's just there's a little bit of a gap. You see how the camera is in there a little bit crooked? That's because this back piece has a little bit of a gap. You can kind of see it there on the right and on the left. So the PCB is just a little too small. You could probably put some foam in there and kind of shim it up, and it would be totally fine. But yeah, it would be nice if there was a... there might be a pinch cam version of the BeeEye, for all I know. But that's what you would want. It looks like the back end of this camera, the PCB in the back of this camera is the same size as the pinch cam, which is ultra small. So you got to plug the camera in first. Now you can plug the UFL in. They're using a tiny little crazy lightweight antenna, which I'm totally fine with. Oh shit, is this camera cable not going to be long enough? Oh, balls. Hold on, let me try to make a better angle on these cables so that this will work. Yeah, we're good. We're good. It just barely clears. Just barely clears with this mount. Oh, man. Yeah. Just got to sort of angle these cables down. Okay. That should be all right. It's pulling on the mount a little bit, but I don't think it's pulling on it so much that it's going to... cause any problems or like make the camera sit sideways in there. Here we go with the canopy screw. Nightmare. Yes. There's one. What else can I say about this? I'm also going to swap these propellers out pretty soon. Maybe not today, but yeah, these ASI props, they just, the blades get so bent up during crashes that it drives me insane. Oh, man. I used to be like, I think it was when this screwdriver was more magnetic. I used to not have many problems with these canopy screws, but lately I've been having a hell of a time with them. Every single one of you knows exactly what I mean when I say that. ELRS antenna is invisible. I think it's a little flat antenna here. There's a little chip with a red sticker on it. I think that means it has a flat ELRS antenna. Betaflight tried that, and they had a lot of problems with range. Again, this is a hardcore race rig, and so range is not really much of a thought process. And so, yeah, sacrifices for durability and or lightweight in order to win races are a thing. Okay, almost there. Last canopy screw. There we go. All right, so now we are on 25 degrees of up tilt with a BeeEye mount. This will be much more flyable for me. Make sure I didn't hurt it already. Nope, we're good. Okay, here we go. Back in the sky. So for any kind of freestyle stuff, or if you just don't have absolute lightning reflexes and want to go fast all the time, yeah. That the camera mount it comes with is so aggressive that you're gonna have a hard time. So if you're not a super seasoned pilot, or if you just don't want to fly quite as fast, a different camera mount is gonna be a pretty early upgrade that you're gonna want to do. I would almost not call it an upgrade, but it is. You're changing something. I'm making it better for me, right? So now we've even got a little bit of duct in view at the bottom here. Whoo, boy, this thing is light with a lot of power. Ah, I wanted to try to catch up with Teddy, but... Woo! Jesus Christ. Woo! Oh my god. Flies just like the old race spec. It's a handful. Where'd that just go? Teddy! Oh, god damn it, dog. It's got a bright white LED on the top of it, which actually makes it really easy to find when I crash it. You guys in the chat seem to want me to try a railgun. Let's see. This is the railgun. Oh! That was a high railgun. Let's try a low railgun. Oh, God. Oh, my God. What was that? Railgun's hard, man. Fuck you! Flies great out of the box, though. I'll give it that. That's for sure. Oh, that was a low railgun, but I missed that second gate. Jesus. It's extra hard to railgun with no throttle expo. I gotta get some throttle expo on here. This is insane. Off on the right side of the... Where's my throttle value? What? Where's my throttle value? What is this? Where my throttle value normally is, there's a battery with like 29 volts. I'm pretty sure it's not 29 volts. Is that my throttle? That's my throttle. 30, 31. Oh, God, no. Stop it! 35, 36, 32. All right, so hold on. We're just going to take a crack at it. We're going to do 33 and see how that is. Main. Profile. He just saunters over. I don't remember what I said. Was it the hell was that? Oh, there we go. Was it 30? I'm going to try 33 expo amount. It needs a lot. I'm going to move it up to 30. Save and exit. Oh my God, Teddy. Oh, much better. Much better. The tune is fine out of the box. What? No prop wash. Whew! The littlest, tiniest wobble there, but most rigs, if you really put them perfectly under their own prop wash, they will give you a little something, something. Let's fly this lava battery. No. Let's do a 260 mAh battery. We're going to go absolute mega lightweight. 16.5 gram rig with a 270 mAh lava battery, which is like a full gram lighter, I think, than the 300s. This is pretty much the lightest tiny whoop that in all ever. The lightest in the world, right? Oh my God. Oh. Okay. We lost power. The battery came unplugged. This A30 battery plug is looser than any I've experienced. I've used A30 plugs before. This one seems unusually loose. The battery moved forward, and then it just unplugged itself, which is I never like that. That's a little creepy. So maybe switch this over to a regular old BT 2.0 white and blue plug. There was something really weird going on in the middle of that flip. Let me try that again. I think the PID loop is at its limit. Oh boy. Oh my god, this is so light set up like this. Yeah, when I'm at 0 throttle, every once in a while, it's getting a little upset, and it's like firing the motors up when I don't want them to. Jesus. Wow, I'm not lining stuff up. I'm just kind of like throwing it at stuff. Hold on. It almost feels like the camera might not be even anymore, which could make sense. Yeah, so the camera's not quite even. See, that main beam in the house is not totally level. So the camera has rotated in the mount a little bit, which, for whatever reason, I'm super sensitive to. Like, I just fly so bad when cameras are not level. Whoa, boy. Okay, so now that was 0 throttle. That was it. Oh, okay. That's not great. Okay, so the battery came unplugged again. So this A30 on here is no good. I think that also might be an issue with the battery lead being up on top like this. I don't like that. It should be on the bottom. When the battery lead goes on the bottom there, it pushes up against the battery a little bit, which kind of holds these batteries in a little bit better. These newbie drone cockroach frames, Teddy, stop it! What are you doing? Where did you get that ball from? Oh my god! The newbie drone cockroach frames, the batteries are held in here enough, but they're not like super held in there. And so having the wire on the bottom, it just seems to kind of give the battery a little bit more tension, I guess you could say, when it's kind of in there. It keeps it from moving around so much. What's happening with this little 260 battery is when I'm nosing it in, the battery is sliding forward, and that's unplugging itself because this A30 connector is kind of loose. So that's weird, man. I don't know if whoever makes the A30 connectors has slightly undersized the pins a little bit, but it's an easy fix. Put a Betaflight BT 2.0 on here, and you'll never have that issue again. We're gonna swap propellers because I think I've kind of banged these propellers up a little bit. This will be quick. I also want to see how propellers fit. I'm going to take this opportunity to do a bunch of stuff, actually. I'm going to put it into Betaflight, and we are going to change the filtering. Man, I hate to do all this at once, but I'm kind of time limited right now. We're going to fly this thing more tomorrow night stream, Wednesday stream, probably Friday stream, but I want to squeeze as much as I can into this one here. Getting the little dongle. Dropping it down in the little holes, the through holes in the frame. Oh man, there's my alarm going off for 6 o'clock. Jesus. Come on. Get in there. There it goes. Yeah, it drops on there totally fine. I'm going to recommend that you plug USB in before you drop the little dongle down onto the frame. If you get this thing, you'll see what I mean. Connecting to Betaflight, I'm going to make a bunch of the changes that I was kind of talking about. So we're going to go to... I'm not going to go to props in yet. I'm going to do a little something to the filtering. I'm going to move this gyro filter multiplier all the way up to 2.0. I'm going to turn on the dynamic notch filter. And I'm going to turn the notch count from 3 down to 1. And I'm going to save that. I'm going to come in here to the PID profile. And I'm going to give the pitch axis just a little bit more love. I'm going to move pitch damping and tracking up to 1.1. Feed forward, I'm going to turn down. I just don't like the way that it makes the flight footage look. Turn it down to 0.2. The dynamic damping Dmax, I'm going to leave that alone. Dynamic idle, I'll leave that. Dynamic damping, it doesn't, what I'm doing right now doesn't make a difference. Round numbers make me happy. Okay. And then I'm going to fix one thing real quick in the OSD, which is that this battery voltage is turned on. That's what was making the OSD look weird. Now the OSD is fine. Click save. That's not going to make it not flicker. It's still doing the weird flickering thing. I'll take a flickering OSD, but an image that's nice and contrasty rather than the muddy image any day. Let's see how that is real quick. And then I'm actually going to go to props in and change the propellers. But just super quick to see if those filtering changes make things any better and or worse. I'm not even going to put the goggles on. I'm just going to... The idle is really high. That might be what's causing the strangeness that I'm kind of sensing when I'm off throttle. Oh God. So I've added, even though I took away some of that gyro filtering, turning that dynamic notch on has added filtering, which the racers won't want. So like, again, hardcore race rig. For me, I want a little bit more leeway in the tune. And I never, ever, ever want... Racers never really go zero throttle. So good tune performance at zero throttle doesn't really matter to them. God damn it. It's not any worse. What I'm doing there is I'm just listening when I go to zero throttle, and it's definitely a little bit better there. The battery is trying to come out again, and it's about to come unplugged. If I'd if I'd crashed this again, it would have pulled this battery. It would have unplugged this battery just like that. So yeah, the battery lead situation is not great. I'm gonna go to props in, and I'm gonna change this over to my favorite propeller at the moment, which is should I put this on a biblade? It's light enough. I'm going to put this on a biblade. I kind of have two favorite propellers at the moment. The HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3. Excuse me, 3 tri-blade. I also really like these HQ 1.2 by 1.2 by 2 biblades. Since this is so light, I'm going to do the biblades. With it being super light, it's not going to have much much momentum. The biblade props will help with that. Because they're slidey, because they're skiddy, they're going to make it, they're going to allow it to kind of hurl through the air when I'm zero throttle a little bit better, which I do a lot of. So we'll move this over and we will go props in at the same time. And then that'll pretty much be it, yo. I only really have like 1.5 batteries left. But that's okay. I feel like we covered a good amount of ground in this last hour or so that we've been really reviewing this thing. This is the Tiny Whoop clone proper. I'm so sorry, chat. I've been completely ignoring you this entire time. Jake FPV says, how's the BeeEye V2? It's the size of a pinch. I've heard looks really similar to the V1 on the stream. Yeah, the camera as a camera is kind of the same. I don't really notice much of a difference. I haven't been paying much attention, though, because the thing is so light and so fast that I'm having to use all my brain power to just not smack into stuff. Let's see if these motor shafts are slightly undersized or more sort of normal. I've not drilled these out, and usually these fit just about... That actually is kind of perfect, which probably means that these motor shafts are ever so slightly undersized when compared to Happy Model, although this prop won't go on at all. So there's a chance that prop I had already drilled out. Yeah, no, okay. So they're regular motor shafts. They're not undersized at all. That was a propeller that was obviously not drilled out, and I had to push it ever so slightly too hard to get it on there. Here's another one that I think I've already drilled out. Yep, that one goes on there. Perfect. I can see I've drilled it out because I can see that the prop is used because there's a little angle on the blade. It's been crashed. And then, yeah, that's a brand new prop. And yeah, so normal motor shafts, not undersized, not oversized. 300 mAh battery. Wait, no, I got to go to props in. Hold on. I run props in because it dives better. And I do a lot of off-throttle dives with everything that I fly. This is scary. Having this little dongle plugged into USB and getting power, and then dropping it down and trying to hit these through holes is kind of sketchy. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna drop it into the through holes not plugged in, and then just try really hard to not torque it and bend the pins when I'm plugging the USB in. All right, so there's it. Drop down. And then here comes USB-C. So like if I hold the dongle here, yeah, that can't be putting much stress on that. That should be okay. Let you know after I've plugged it and unplugged it 50 times. So we're going to go to motors. We're going to go to props in, save and reboot. And then I believe that we're going to need to plug this in and make sure that they're actually spinning the other way. I don't think that changes the actual rotation of the motors. This could be a little difficult here because this little dongle is in the way of motor 3. So I'm lifting the dongle up a little bit. Let's see if this works. Wizard. Hey, cool. And they are not wanting to spin. But, okay, hold on. So I'm going to have to do this in here. So I'm going to have to get them spinning in here. Oh, it did reverse the rotation. No, it didn't. Motor 4 is wrong. Just motor 4 is wrong, though. That's weird. Oh, and I lost connection. And when you lose connection, it just keeps spinning. Oh, man. So I gotta hold my hand as still as I can. Okay, so it's just motor 4. Stop motors. Isn't that scary? If it loses connection to Betaflight, it just keeps spinning the motors. Start and spin. So 4 is the only one that's backwards. Stop. Oh, wait, no. 4. Close. All right, so they should all be spinning the right direction now. Let's see. Motor 3 is correct. 4 is now correct. 2 is correct. 1 is correct. All right, we're good. Oh boy, it has lost connection and they just keep spinning. All right, hold on. Oh boy. I mean, I could just unplug the battery, but... Okay. Alright, I'm going to have to unplug the battery. Alright, hopefully that saved. Oh, there is... The idle is a bit much. Let me... Oh, boy. Getting this little thing dropped in on these little tiny through holes is admittedly a little bit difficult. All right, there it is. And then here, I want to try to get that digital idle under control, but let me take a look at Blue Jay. We didn't go into Blue Jay at all. Let let's take a quick look here. esc-configurator.com. Select port. That's the one. Connect. Read settings. It is powered on. So this is on BlueJay 0.19. I don't love that. ZH40. I'm just going to move these minimum and maximum startup powers all the way up. That usually fixes things. The motor timing is set to high. That's not what we want. We want medium. Beacon settings, I always turn these up a little bit. That'll make the little ESC beeper significantly louder. Beacon delay, move that down to 2 minutes so that after 2 minutes it'll start beeping at you if you haven't flown it. And that's all. We're going to write settings. And I could fix that motor 4 spinning the wrong way by just changing it here, but I already changed it in Betaflight, so we'll leave it alone. I'm going to move this to BlueJay 0.16. Here's a link. BlueJay 0.16 is my favorite. There's the link in chat, how to get here. If for some reason chat's not working, here's the URL. This is where you can download BlueJay 0.16. I'm going to look for ZH40. It's a pretty manual process. So you scroll down here, and let's see if ZH40 is on here. Yep. So ZH40_48. That's the 48 kilohertz version. Click it to download it. And then I can come in here. So normal, 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 reversed. We're going to go to flash all ESCs. We're going to flash local. Oh my God, come on now. Why are you spinning the physical hard drives up? There's nothing on those physical hard drives that you need to look at. There it is. ZH40 hex. Open it. And now that's going to install it. Flashing 1. And then I'm going to go back into Betaflight and I'm going to try to turn down the idle. I don't like the idle being up that high. NeoFlow says, if my gyro spazzes out and I have to replug, is it messed up? It's my Matrix 3 and 104 build. Probably, yeah. But just keep running it until it completely dies. It's probably not far from completely dying. Benny Bravo says, can we get a massive railgun? I'll try again here in a second. Kelvin says, I second the railgun attempt. Benny Bravo says, oh yeah. He also says, you have 2 layers on top of each other on your OSD. Yep, that's exactly it. Benny Bravo says, I think you're onto something with Newbie Drone having lots of batteries with the shitty lead on them. No other reason to use that lead with BT 2.0 out there unless you just have a surplus. Well, yeah, there is. The A30 Newbie Drone has to. Well, they don't have to, but oh no, this thing. Oh God, I think it might have lost connection. I think I might have bumped it and it lost connection or something. Oh, fuck. Hopefully that didn't brick it. Please don't have bricked it. All right, plug in power back in. Oh, for God's sakes, hold on. All right, connect. Read settings. Oh, it's a little bit bricked. Hold on, let's try it again. Oh my God, really? Stop spinning the physical hard drives up, dude. I'm asking you to look at the physical. Oh. Come on. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Yeah. Okay. Should be all right. I don't remember what we were talking about. Benny Bravo says, the Motor Wizard never works for me. It used to work all the time, and now I feel like it works less and less often. But reversing the motors in here is not that much more time consuming. No! Stop stalling out! What's happening? I didn't move. I'm sitting still. I'm not touching it. Fuck. Let me try tensioning the cable to the other side, basically. Oh boy, this is a little rough. Come on now. Hold on, let's pull power. Oh man, it's really struggling. Hold on, I gotta take the little dongle thing off. And now I'm gonna put it back on. And I'm gonna try to like pre-tension the cable to the side so that it maintains some like pressure on the pins going through the through holes. Okay. Stay right there, you little bastard. Connect. Read settings. Hurry, 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 hurry. Come on, come on, come on. Flash. It's going to spin all the hard drives up again for no goddamn reason. Matter of fact, you know what? Just eject them, and now it won't be able to spin them up. I don't need them right now. ZH40 hex, open. Come on. Oh, man, this ain't great. It's dying at the same point over and over again. Oh, boy. Oh, man, come on now. Oh, you know what? It might just be getting too hot. Hold on. Just get it unplugged and plugged back in with these little pins. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Pins are in. Batteries plugged back in. Okay. Let's try to not use 0.16. Let's try the newer version of Blue Jay. So we're going to go Blue Jay ZH40 version 0.21 in 48K. Let's flash that. See what happens. Oh, man. What is going on? Why is it doing this? Also, why does it keep spinning these goddamn hard drives up? Can you not? Oh, wait, no. I don't want to. That's a solid state drive. Okay. If you get one of these, don't do anything in ESC configurator. It works out of the box. Leave it alone. If you buy a bind and fly, bind it and fly it. You're paying for it to be ready to be bound and flown. Take advantage of that. And don't be like me. Blue Jay 0.19 is not like bad per se. I like 0.16 and or 2.1 better. Maybe it's just too hot. Hold on. I would really like to get 0.16 onto it. Flash local, 0.16. All right, come on. Nope, it's hanging up in that same spot. I am out of time. Sorry, guys. I will mess around with this on my time. Hopefully I didn't just brick it. But this is acting a little bit suspect. Oh, wait a second. I didn't, how did it even start doing that? I didn't plug power into it. Yikes, man. This little dongle thing is rough. Here's the little, I haven't really showed you this process yet, but here's the process. You gotta take this little guy. You gotta line it up just right with these little tiny pins. It doesn't fix it all the time, but it makes me feel better. And yeah, you got to line it up here. See, sometimes it fixes it. It's weird. Gotta line it up on those guys. There it is. And so now it's in. And so it's, you know, like it can kind of move around. And so like what I'm doing is I'm trying to like keep a finger on this and then like hold the plug when I plug the plug in. Yeah. Oh, the lengths that will go to save weight. At some point we'll go too far. And this might be that point. Never know. This is a little tough. Oh shit. It won't power up now. Did the pins get a little bent or something like that? What's happening here? It won't the board's not getting power. Yeah, I can't. I gotta go. So yeah. Hardcore race rig. Unquestionably. Yeah. The hardest core of the race builds. Flies insane though. Crazy light. I really want to fly it on these tri-blades. On these biblades rather though. I just got it. Hold on. One more time. One more try. It's got power now. Hold on. Let's try it one more time. I'm going to try to put it back onto 0.19. Super quick. Come on now. Oh, nope. Now it doesn't see it again. Oh, Christ. Even Betaflight doesn't see it now. Balls. Oh, that ain't a good sign. Is this battery dead, maybe? Did it eat this entire battery? No, battery's at 4 volts. Yikes. Oh, yeah, that ain't good. That ain't good. Well, definitely don't mess with Blue Jay if you get one of these. You know, you fail the flashing procedure too many times on an ESC, and maybe that killed it. But yeah, I gotta go. I'll look at this with a fresh set of eyes later, and maybe I'll be able to figure it out. But that's a little creepy. What happens when I plug it in with no? Oh, nah, there's something very wrong here. But it failed to flash over and over again. So hopefully I can get it fixed. So yeah, don't be like me. Don't mess with Blue Jay. 0.19 is not bad per se. It's just not my favorite. Just leave it alone. It's on 48K, which is great. And so just ignore escconfiguredat.com. Leave it alone. Seems to be on Blue Jay. And fly it. Cool. Thank you, Newbie Drone, for sending this over. Very cool. I hope I didn't blow it up because I do want to fly it some more. Yeah. See you guys tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. CiottiFPV.com to support me. This is a totally crowdfunded thing. $3 a month will get you access to the Patreon, and it'll allow me to keep doing this. Patreon is kind of doing one of these, so if you've got a couple extra bucks, hook a brother up. Go to CiottiFPV.com, click Patreon, join. It's the only way that I can continue to do this. I promise that I will save you more than $3 a month. You know, if you were going to buy one of these and screw around with Blue Jay, I would have saved you 100 and whatever they are. So support me and I'll save you money, I promise. Thanks for hanging, friends. Here's some more chasing RC drift cars at the place that I'll never be able to fly at again. Love you, bye. See you tomorrow night at 10.